Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Are you ready? Okay.
Spice FM. Online, mobile, and on radio. Facebook at SpiceFM KE. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Patrick Lodge, Otieno Lumumba. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
CT Muga.
Spice.
A lion cannot eat.
Lion anasema opposite. Bro, ukisikiliza namna hii unasikia opposite.
The Situation Room, Spice. The only way to start your day.
It's critical that people pay taxes. But then taxation has to have a limit. When you start overtaxing people beyond certain limit, then this is now we call robbery with violence.
We are all struggling, but we don't show. If you're not doing well, shame on you. But you have to say, I'm broke and I'm struggling. We are not okay until everybody is okay.
We are pretending to have political parties. Why don't we just be honest? And we say, these are the Luyas, these are the Kambas, these are the Kikuyus, and we find ourselves in Kenya.
You know, with politics and leadership, no matter what you do, there will always be a complaint. There will always be the assumption that you're either stealing or you're not doing things right. As a leader, don't fear. If you know you're doing the right thing, you've thought about it, you've got an expert advice, do it, then understand later.
This country, we don't need prayers. Prayers is between you and God. Good governance and thinkers who care about the country and not their stomach.
That's what we need.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
You tune into Kenya's biggest conversation. My name is Ramanya.
Amen.
So 1 hour is over?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It gets over
Can you imagine
in 20 minutes.
what the big boys have also done?
I'm very proud of myself. When you understand about partnership in politics, it's like the way marriage is these days. When you're looking for a wife, you're like, oh, you know, maybe you can help me pay you for fees as I pay for the rent.
Why should you have a lioness living in your bedroom?
I have to tell you a story. I went for a prayer meeting, which was called for the spouses of candidates for senators and governors. And when I got to the gate, the lady who was the secretary, she refused to, she's telling me, no. Leo tunataka wa mama. Leo ni wa mama. I'm telling her, no. She said, no, sio siku yenu. And I thought, there's a problem here, you know, because if it was a man, but this was a lady.
It will be called First Ladies until you change the name.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Good Monday morning to you all. Hoping that you had a restful weekend. 1 more day. Is it 2 more days? Yeah, 2 more days, and then we are Christmas proper. Not Christmas roundabout or Christmas neighbors. Christmas proper. Traffic hasn't started building up as yet. As in everywhere. I mean everywhere. You're talking about Thika Superhighway. We talk about all the major thoroughfares. Talk about Jogo Road. You talk about Mombasa Road. Right now, traffic is flowing. Even if you go to the normal suspects where traffic seems to clog up, there is no clogging up of traffic right now. It is flowing. I guess by the time we get to tomorrow and the day after, there will be hardly any traffic on the roads because either people have moved out of town or those remaining will barely be making any movement. So drive safely. It's a chilly morning. Let's keep you updated as the day goes on.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
This festive season may not be the happiest moment of your life, but there's always something to celebrate, something called life. Where hope has died, every new year brings with it new hope, new beginnings, and a chance to do everything that you hadn't done before in the hope that it will turn better. Rejoice in the reality of your life, rejoice in your health, rejoice in your family, rejoice in simply being where you are at this point in time, and rejoice in having the ability to have hope as you look into the future.
Good morning, and many thanks for listening to SpiceFM. City, good morning. How was your weekend?
Quiet. Quiet.
What you up to?
I was not much.
Yeah.
My weekends are normally quiet and not much happens. Yes, it's deliberate.
Deliberate.
Yes.
Mine was equally quiet, but I was here. Officially, Christmas season is here, and I was here yesterday because we've started our shifts. But that notwithstanding, kila kitu iko shambamba. Looking forward to what we have on the show today. Eric Latif is not with us today, and Ndu Oko as well. It is the festivities. People travel to be with their families. But sisi tuko hapa kuhakikisha gurudumu linasonga.
Gurudumu, eh?
Gurudumu. Yeah, and very well as well today on the Situation Room, we shall be having our guest today, Nelson Harvey, the 49th President of Law Society of Kenya, LSK. We shall be having discussions to do with the judiciary. We want that will be coming to you at exactly 7 a.m. And we shall be having Amos Muthama Musyoka as well, KCB Foundation Judiciary program participant, talking about the impact of KCB Foundation Judiciary program. And at 8 a.m., we shall be having Lucy Moria, HSC, now the CEO and founder, the Kenya Pro-Aging Organization. And we shall be talking about understanding aging in Kenya. Remember that conversation we are about to Judiciary, that will be coming to you at exactly 9 a.m. City, it is a good day today. We look forward to what the festivities have to offer. What are you looking forward to, City? Resting.
Yes, primarily that's just about it, really. I plan to do a great deal of resting. A lot of walking, but resting. And reading.
Yes. Really important. And I've actually realized, City, every time you get in here, you come here quietly and start reading early in the morning. Yeah, tell me about it.
Well, the thing is, there are those who said curiosity killed the cat. Well, this particular cat is curious, but the curiosity is so that my mind is informed. I find it very invigorating to be informed about what's going on and to also look at the views and the presentation of issues that keep arising. And I'm sure when we look at the headlines in the papers today, we will luckily see what it is that I mean by what I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah, and I think we go to the paper and just go through them.
Yes, let's.
All right, so let me start with the Standard, yeah? And smack in the middle of the Standard today, lawyers call for overhaul of judicial system now as the judiciary faces mounting allegations of corruption, delays and incompetence. Pressure builds for a fresh vetting of judges and magistrates, with the Law Society of Kenya spearheading the push for accountability. The legal experts warn that public trust in Kenya's justice system is winning. Now, I'm a victim of cyberbullying, or is it called technologically facilitated gender-based violence? But I know the intention. It's a business model. I don't know what it's meant to achieve. That is CJ Martha Koome. We shall be having this discussion a little bit later on the state of judiciary in the country, that we shall be having with the 49th president of the Law Society of Kenya, Nelson Havi, as well. On the top left corner of the Standard, Stanbic's 722 million shillings row with airline now in court, as well as low inflation, but Kenyans still hungry. Why is that? That is in page 20 as well. And Xmas market attack leaves 200 injured. That is a story on page 25 of the Standard, as well as why 2024 will be a year to remember. City, why do you think 2024 will be a year to remember, according to you? Why would you remember the year?
The Gen Zs.
Gen Zs, right?
Because it actually marked, in many, many ways, the beginning of a new era and the end of one. There are those who think that our Gen Zs and those who supported their communication to the rest of the country and to the leadership, the political leadership that is, it may look like it was a flash in the pan. It was not. It was actually the beginning of a new era. Yes, and it marked the end of a new one. We will be looking back in history, and we will be able to tell that actually everything that we're seeing began at this particular point in time. There's always a point at which you can look back and say, everything that we're seeing now, like I can say that the freedom that we now enjoy is as a result of the repealing of Section 2A. We didn't know it would get us here, but here we are. But having had that example, one can tell that when something is momentous, as the literal uprising of what we call the Gen Zs and what brought about what we call the Gen Z movement, something unheard of, unthought of, unplanned for, unforeseen, that's it. What you see taking place in the political sphere right now is as a result of what happened then. Yes, literally everything. Call it handshake, call it broad-based government, call it handshake, call it even broader-based government again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think for me as well, the Gen Z demonstrations will forever remain etched in this country's history, as well as the fact that we look at Trump is back, like he never left, as well as the fall of the reign of the Assad family in Syria. A lot has happened this year, plus the what do you call it? The finance bill 2024, 2025. I mean, a first for this country.
Yes, it is. There are many firsts, and as I said, the everything that you consider momentous and something that perhaps brings about tumultuous change within a nation, we focus on the change, but we sometimes forget the genesis. Yes. And I'm saying that. But if that in fact was a reaction, but the genesis was the wanton difficulties, the wanton corruption and plundering that the state was in, the vulgar display of material wealth by people who are in government, people who have no visible business that adds value, you can say, gives them money. And yet everything that could possibly, we should actually be right, was going wrong. And a group of Kenyans decided, something, we are not putting up with this. Other people may have put up with it, we are definitely not putting up with it. And that is the beginning. The things that went wrong and should have gone right. The questioning of things in the public manner that nobody had done before. Yes.
Another first city would be the impeachment of the deputy president.
It's a consequence, as I said. You start off at one point and then look at the thing. Just ask, look at what has followed.
Yeah.
the deputy president is impeached.
Impeached.
It means the president's flank is open. The same process could get him impeached.
Yeah.
Then there's a handshake with the opposition leader. Then there's a handshake with the immediate former president. And these are people who the current regime had not spoken well of. That is to put it really mildly. And then you see a complete about turn. What? They suddenly found new love for the citizens of the country. No.
Yeah.
Survival.
Yes. Survival. Yeah, exactly. And that is why 2024 will be a year to remember. That is for us here in the country. And there's another matter here, City. I think this is close to your heart now. There are enough books, KICD assures. The Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development boss, Charles Ongondo, has dismissed reports of a looming textbook shortage for the CBC program. That is in page 2 of the Standard. City. Now, a looming shortage. Even the publishers themselves, publishers have said there was a problem with the books, textbooks for children, and as well as even the sellers of these textbooks complaining that they don't have books to sell. But here we have KICD saying, assuring that there are enough books. But parents, even yesterday in a news piece, were saying we don't have books to buy.
They should be patient. If KICD says their books, believe me, they're books. They just haven't come out in the public domain, but they're books.
They're books. Spoken like a true teacher. But now, City, let's look at the weather, shall we?
Yes.
All right, sawa.
The weather with SpiceFM.
And the weather this morning, we begin from Nairobi, experiencing highs of 23 degrees and lows of 15 degrees. And we go to Kakamega, where we're experiencing highs of 26 degrees and lows of 15 degrees. And in Mombasa, specifically, highs of 30 degrees and lows of 24 degrees. Pretty hot in Mombasa there. Bless you, City. And as well, we go to Nakuru town. That is Nakuru City, highs of 25 degrees and lows of 15 degrees. And in Malindi, that is in Kilifi County, highs of 32 degrees and lows of 25 degrees. And let's cross the borders to Kampala, Uganda, highs of 26 degrees and lows of 19 degrees. And in Kinshasa, Congo, DRC, city's favorite city, highs of 32 degrees and lows of 24 degrees. And in Johannesburg, South Africa, highs of 23 degrees and lows of 16 degrees. And in China, highs of 5 degrees and lows of negative 8 degrees. Pretty cold in China. And in Paris, France, highs of 8 degrees and lows of 5 degrees. That is your weather. These are...
The only way to start your day.
And it is a good morning right here on SpiceFM. I am with CT Muga. Today we are flying. City, today as we start the day, what is the proverb of the day today? And which country are we in? It's a new week.
We started off a couple of weeks ago being in Sub-Saharan Africa. Sub-Saharan Africa is huge. And we've moved from Central East Africa to Southern Africa, Southern Western Africa. Now we're the Horn of Africa. And we are in the state of Eritrea. Now, there are two countries. Well, now, one is a country, one is a town. There's Eritrea, which is the country in the Horn of Africa. Then there is Eritrea. That is a small Greek town in a place called Eubea facing the coast of Africa. Okay? But if you pronounce them casually, you pronounce them the same. Eritrea. Okay? I want to begin by making an observation that somebody actually shared with me about the difference between scientists and military men and women. He said that scientists always probe into the future to find answers. Military persons are always fighting the last war. And it's used to explain very many things that happen. If you look at, say, Kamala Harris, when she was Biden's deputy, her coming in was supposed to bring in black votes, women votes, and it did. She now stood for the presidency herself, and there was a complete negation of what had happened previously. Her campaign was hoped to bring in even more of these people now that she was being president, but that didn't happen. So one could argue that in her campaign she was fighting
a last war.
Yes. If you look at our situation in Kenya, yep, are we fighting for the future or are we fighting a last war? Okay. He who pursues chicken often falls, but the chicken has to continue running.
That would be really common in this festive season, right?
That is precisely why I have chosen it, because people are thinking chicken and eating, and chicken is thinking running so that I may not be eaten.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Our guest shall be going through that proverb of the week coming from Eritrea, and as well as just getting to understand the perspective on the same. But Sidi, I want us to just go through the YouTube and look at, say hi to people who are listening to us this morning, and we begin with Don Sabwa. Is the appointment of CSs a clear sign of patronage and promotion of tribalism? How are you, Ndu? Ndu is not in today, but she is okay. Siti and Dennis, tuko salama sana. Siti, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yes, and R anasema tuko. Now, the Kikombe is happy that Aseto knows that the H in Thailand is silent. Dual courage, maneno is exactly the Kikombe. Now, good morning, Spice. This festive season, watu wasikunywe sana. Love you all. Exactly. We encourage that information. And Robert Mboga, good morning, listening in from Mombasa. And Angor Chamgei, missing, my beautiful people. Greetings from beautiful hills of Saboti, Trans Nzoia. Now, penda sana siku njema huonekana asubuhi, and yes, we agree. Good morning, happy new day, happy new week. Tuned in from Nyeri, Mombasa, and we have Cliff Machoka. Good morning, tuned in from the one and only H-Town, Texas. Kamakawa, Kamadawa, another blessed day to serve fellow humans. Now, Martin Mwiti, good morning. How soon do you plan to bring Dr. Oscar Sudi to the Situation Room? City, how soon?
We'll invite him.
We'll invite him, yeah.
And when he gives us a response, we will share the response.
We will share the response. Yeah. Now, Sandra Sheria, good morning from Costa Rica. How's Costa Rica, Sheria? Now, John Limo Kibinin, Chamgei Togol, greetings from Nakuru, me sing to you. And Pap D, Denny City, asking you to sing Jingle Bells and Silent Night in Swahili. When she comes back, we will make sure she does that. Now, Daniel Charu, good morning, Family Spice, tuned in from Doha. Happy New Week to you. Now, Lucy Miruka, good morning from Mombasa. Daniel Charu, good morning. Sandra Sharia. Joe Mungai from Bonny Lake, Washington. Hello, family.
This gentleman is consistent. Joe, thank you very, very much for always being there, listening and sending greetings. Thank you very, very much, Joe. Thank you. And all those who constantly send greetings, and we see you every morning and we say hello. Let us wish you some very, 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 very saturated Christmas greetings.
Saturated Christmas greetings. So, City, what do you have in the Daily Nation before we get to the some of the items that we go through today in the headlines?
The Daily Nation, the Daily Nation, the Daily Nation. All right. A report, some NGOs funding terrorism. This is a report that was given by the Principal Secretary, National Administration, Principal Secretary, Internal Security National Administration, that is Raymond Omolo. He has warned NGOs against diverting donor funds to support illegal activities, okay? That's what he has said. DCI issues alert as Mchele babes cast their nets wider. It's a story on page 2. Okay, what are we talking about? We're talking about criminal gangs have now ventured out to entertainment joints in rural areas where they hope to take advantage of many unsuspecting merrymakers during Christmas. Victims recount incidents where they woke up to find their valuables gone after being drugged and robbed. Okay, this is what we're talking about. And then cartel selling substandard underweight cement. That's on page 10.
Page 10, yeah.
Yes. This is a story. And indeed, it is a story.
It is.
Then there's a picture of mass exodus. Motorists stranded in massive gridlock on Nakuru-Nairobi highway. Motorists stuck for more than 8 kilometers of traffic gridlock along the Nairobi-Nakuru Eldoret highway at Komagret area yesterday. It's miles and miles and kilometers and kilometers of traffic. Then bang in the middle of the paper, Ruto's dramatic U-turn, survival mode. President William Ruto swept to power through the backing of the majority poor, popularly known as hustlers, has made a U-turn and sought political protection from the dynasties he aggressively campaigned against. The story is on page 4 and page 5. Right, that is the Daily Nation.
Daily Nation.
Let me look at East African briefly, can I?
Okay, yes, sure.
All right. Doubts over South Sudan talks. Parties accuse the government of seeking to renegotiate consensus from scratch. Oh, my goodness. This place, South Sudan, then DRC. Anyway, war against fatty acids. Civil society wants laws to reduce risks of non-communicable diseases. Money market. African airlines fly into fresh EU storm. New fuel requirements throw a spanner in the works. This is story on page 26. Markets. Falling interest rates expected to bite. Banks stare at reduced revenue come 2025. Okay, not that they're going to go broke. They're going to make less. Okay. Yes. December effect at work in Dar City. This is a story, this is an opinion column, shows how the marvels of at how fast and slow the city can be depending on the festive season. And this, I think, is measured by the way people work, the way they don't work, the way they come to work, or the way they don't come to work. Sahel Club stuck with neighbors. It is not enough to grab power and form a new club. This is the story of the new kids in the block in that region who, Western Africa and the Sahel region, who came into power, and the things that they have said and the things that they have done, etc., etc., etc. Bang in the middle of the paper. Uganda Army in DRC gold rush. A new report says its economic interests have kept its military engaged in Ituri and North Kivu to secure mining sites and trade routes inside the vast country. This enables minerals to flow to Kampala, boosting its export earnings. That is the East African.
The East African. And let me go through the Business Daily now. Smack in the middle of the paper now. Kenya oil block licenses expiry rekindles Somalia border round now. 3 licenses awarded to Italian multinational Eni for oil exploration in a disputed area of the Lamu Basin will expire at the end of this month, renewing focus on the fight between Kenya and Somalia over the blocks. Now, both Kenya and its water neighbor claims the oil blocks. The spot has complicated oil exploration along a part of the East African coastline that over a decade ago emerged as one of the world's hottest crude search locations. And power prices fall 4 shillings a unit on weak dollar fuel costs. Now, consumers are this month paying 4 shillings and 7 cents less per unit of electricity compared to December last year in the wake of reduced foreign exchange and fuel adjustment surcharges easing inflationary pressure. Seems like we're going to be purchasing affordable power city. And budget exposes parastatals ploy to avoid cash rule. Now, the Treasury House barred cash-rich state firms from spending surplus money on the acquisition of assets without approval in a fresh bid to mobilize revenue amid rising resistance. Some of the stories, including abetting retail sectors post jump in ad spend and investors hit as T-bill rates fall below 10%. CT, which story do you want us to go through this morning?
Well, are we taking a break or do we just continue?
Let's just go straight to it.
Good. Right. I want to go to this story on page 8. Some NGOs funding terrorism actors. Promises to be an interesting story. Non-governmental organizations in Kenya, internationally or unintentionally, intentionally rather, not internationally, goodness gracious me, and unintentionally divert their funds to terrorism actors. A new report prepared jointly by state agencies and civil societies have shown. The report released last week also revealed that some NGOs are at times abused to conceal the movement or distribution of terrorism funds, with terrorist groups developing operational relationship with them or individuals within them. The Terrorism Financing Risk Assessment for Non-Profit Organization in Kenya report was prepared by the Public Benefit Organization Regulatory Authority, PBORA, Financial Reporting Center, FRC, Muslim for Human Rights, and Kenya National Civil Society Center, among others. The Al-Shabaab presents the biggest terrorism threat to Kenya, with threat levels elevated to Somali border regions. The report identified 4 ways terrorism entities might abuse non-profit organizations. They include abuse of NPOs to raise funds to support terrorism groups. There is also diversion of legitimate NGO resources to terrorist actors. Competent authorities should develop mechanisms to identify the specific NPOs that have been identified as being potential risk of terror financing and the report recommends. This is simply those in that very, very sector saying this, we believe, is what is happening, and this poses a danger. Remember, we've had terrorism attacks in this country on several occasions, and wives have been lost wantonly. The 2 attacks we're talking about, the American Embassy attack, that was our first brush with the horrific effects of terrorism. And then we had the Westgate attack. We've had others at Dusit and so forth, but it tells you that for people to come into the country and to plan such heinous acts, they must have internal support. It is not possible for an outsider to come to the country and suddenly know what to do, how to do it, and where to go about it. So this is an alert, and it is good that the alert has been sent out and the information has been sent out. Me thinks that the government actually knows who it is they're targeting. They're just simply saying it. In the coming days, we will see situations where people will be called to book, and we will see people being called out. That is what I think will happen.
Yeah, and City, it is true that when you look at the way terrorism, or even just how they operate, there's always someone from within who is assisting in one way or the other, which goes to indicate that or suggest that for us to be able to fight terrorism in the country, we all must come together in making sure that we are part of the solution to terrorism, because we know what terrorism has done to this country. Talk about Westgate, talk about the US Embassy in the country. We also had the one in Riverside as well, in that hotel as well. Terrorism has continued to rob us lives in this country, and it's about time that we all came together and put all our strengths in making sure that we fight terrorism in the country. And yes, indeed, if the government knows who it is, act.
The need for the government to actually focus on how it is we can beef up our security. Usually it's nothing that complicated. It's making sure that the security apparatus are adequately funded. If they are not, I'm afraid that lapses will continue.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you talk about matters to do with security apparatus are adequately funded. Today, it's sad that reports coming from Haiti suggest that these people have not been paid. We know the role that they are playing in Haiti, which goes to play part in what it is you're saying. The police apparatus and security apparatus pretty much needs to be well funded.
It is very true. It's very true. Some of these things that we talk about, the solutions, from a layman's perspective, the solutions don't seem complicated, but somewhere along the line, there's always some complication. So you have to ask the question, okay, so what really is a complication?
Yeah.
Okay. Because funds are always limited, and that is why we plan. Yes. The entire discipline of economics is based on an understanding that resources are scarce and they're limited. And that's why you have to plan and how you divvy them up.
Yeah.
So, and the experts are doing this. So what are our priorities and how do we divvy up what we have so that it is certain that we actually keep the citizenry safe, we actually keep the citizenry fed, we actually keep the citizenry healthy. Things that are a priority. Yes.
Approaches seem to be other things. But still, let's talk about the festive season and talk about the high cost of living. Now, that is on page 3 of the Standard. And unlike previous festive seasons where public transport often witnessed travel crisis in Nairobi, this year has been different, with fewer travelers turning up to journey up country. In the past, the holiday season would see overcrowding within the public service vehicles termini in the capital as city residents made last-minute attempts to travel and celebrate Christmas and to New Year festivities with their loved ones. Now, however, a spot check by the Standard revealed that there were limited activities within the PSV stages for key destinations across the country, including western, central and eastern regions. Now, at OTC, drivers of matatus plying the Nairobi-Thika Murang'a route were engaged in lengthy conversations as it was taking longer than usual to fill their vehicles. The drivers are idle because there is little to keep them engaged. The number of passengers is not as many compared to previous years, said Richard Munyalo, an MTN Sacco stage attendant. Now, according to Munyalo, the number of trips the Matatu Sacco makes per day has reduced to half compared to previous years. City, why do you think that's the case?
In every year, we increase our own numbers. We are more. And also, yes, what then happens also during Christmas, transport is diverted. There are routes that are more profitable.
Yeah.
So transportation that was heading in a certain direction may simply be moved to a different one because that is more lucrative. They would know. Because, for instance, you will find vehicles that you've never seen plying the Nakuru, Kisumu route. You'll see them now. Why? There are more people going in that direction. It's business. It's boom time. So why would I want to go to Thika, which is just around the corner? Why would I want to go to Machakos, which is literally around the corner? There are those who will go, but I'd rather have a place where, one, I'm charging the passengers more than I normally charge.
Premium, yeah.
And the route is longer. So even if I come back with fewer passengers, I've made my money.
Yeah. So. But today, things seem to be different. People are not traveling. And we keep talking about the fact that Kenyans are going through it. Kenyans are experiencing high cost of living. And as much as every 14th of the month, we will get these announcements that fuel has reduced by 2 shillings, 3 shillings. But at the end of the day, today, Kenyans are not traveling, which goes to tell you how the real situation is. Like we keep saying in this show, City, we will get all these stats and these numbers from government agencies, but qua ground, things are different.
Let me ask you something, Dennis.
Yes.
You say people are not traveling. Is it that fewer are traveling than previous? Because I look at the jams, where the jam's coming from. I look at the town. Town is full of people. Even now, if you go down, it's full of people.
It's full.
So where are people going?
Yeah, City, if you looked at that traffic that was experienced, especially along the Nairobi Eldoret highway, majority of those vehicles are actually private cars.
Yes, they're traveling.
Which tells you
most public transport travels in the evenings and at night. Yes, there are those that ply the routes in the daytime. There's no question about it. I believe you have a point when you say not as many people who are traveling, but observe from today. Because there are people who wait until the last moment, and the reason they wait is because they don't have the money.
Yeah.
So they're waiting to get the money so they can travel. I need to understand this great need. People always have to travel all at the same time.
See, just how things are. The people are wired like that. Like, this is the time to travel, so let's go.
No, the love people have for their rural homes is undoubtedly clear. But what I'm actually marveling at is the inconvenience that you're guaranteed to meet. It's the same thing every year. But people put up with it. People need to travel home. There's a need. It's almost like they're fleeing the city.
Yeah. Actually, they do.
It's like the city represents something they want to get away from for a while before they come back to endure it again.
Yes. Yeah. And anyway, for those who are traveling, the travel safe, Be safe while you do it. Remember that the traffic in these roads has exponentially increased. All we need to do is be careful. The police have actually said that they've increased surveillance on these roads to make sure that Kenyans are safe while traveling as well. We shall be having our spot checks, just making sure that everything is okay on the roads as well. Now, let's talk about matters to do with health. Yeah. That is on page 6 of the Standard. Now, NHIF to SHA, a year marked by reforms, strikes and health sector controversies. Now, fresh allegations about funds that Kenyans are contributing to the Social Health Authority to the effect that they could be going into private accounts serve to make the year 2024 the most dramatic in the health sector. While SHA dismissed recent claims circulating in the media, they, along with Kenyans, are reflecting on a year that has seen the health sector undergo a whirlwind of events, making it one of the most dynamic sectors among the country's essential services. Now, the transition of the health scheme from the highly popular National Health Insurance Fund to the SHA emerged as one of the most polarizing topics in the country. Now, billed as a cornerstone of universal health coverage in accordance with the Kenya Kwanza administration's agenda, SHA reforms sought to overhaul the financing of the healthcare by introducing a centralized system. The aim was to pool resources and reduce inequalities in the access to quality healthcare. Now, we've talked about matters to do with healthcare in the country, NHIF to SHA. And one of the biggest issues we've had about this transition is it seemed like all this was good on paper during the release of the manifestos and all this. But we were not prepared for the transition from NHIF to SHA. As we move to the year 2025, what are some of the things you expect the government to do to improve on this specific subject?
Nope. Ask me that question again. Because the way you've answered it, I can actually answer you with just one statement, and that's not what you want.
All right, Sidi. In the year 2025, Kenyans expect that a lot will be done into improving these transition to SHA, because fact is today SHA is not working. The year 2025, Kenyans hope to have a medical scheme, a medical authority, a medical scheme that will help them access healthcare.
Dennis, we don't just expect a medical scheme that will work.
Mm-hmm.
We expect universal healthcare. We expect the security to be a certainty. We expect the roads that we were told would be built and roads that we have heard for the longest time are built and yet haven't been.
Mm-hmm.
We expect the CBC problem to be sorted out once and for all, instead of these pockets of and snippets of information coming about this is wrong. I expect the university problem to be sorted out. I expect a better accountability of the monies that we collect and to what use it is put to.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that I expect the most is I expect the citizens to understand that it is their duty to hold their leaders to account. The only way the rule of law works is if you understand that power and authority has a tendency of twisting people to be their worst selves, not better. A few escape this dragnet, but the majority tend to veer towards the worst possible option and version that they can be. When they're kept in check, then they actually end up doing what they're supposed to do. And people actually end up benefiting. And vigilance simply means at the appointed time you will say, no, this is not what we agreed, no, this is not what should be done. We are not going to put up with this. It's not complicated, it's very simple.
Mm-hmm.
Then you will be doing your duty as a sovereign. You're not just sovereign kama kikapu. You're sitting in one place expecting to be moved. No. You need to play your part. Hold the leadership to account. Tell them this is wrong. Tell them we do not wish to have this. Let them know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I expect.
Yeah, and City, it is also a subject of dissent that is there and being put to account and accepting that citizens have a voice in whatever it is that you do. Because at the end of the day, you do not get to leadership, you don't just walk into it. It is the citizens who donate that power to you.
They do.
They do.
They do.
And when citizens say, this SHA is not working. Funding model is not working. We want you to give all these independent bodies the power to do their work. We want you to invest into our security, into our education. And that should not be seen as though we are saying no to what you're saying, but you're saying we want better. But that doesn't seem to be what you're getting from the leadership.
It's confliction. You see, how do you pilfer and plunder, and yet the monies you're speaking about are the same money that are allocated to provide these services? The services will automatically suffer. It's really not that complicated. You see, the statement that was made by all the clergy and religious leaders made sense, and they stood up and they said, this is what we want, or this is what we don't want. But statements have to be followed by action. Find ways, whether you're getting delegations to go and talk to these people, but communicate effectively so they understand that it can't be business as usual, because you'll be doing them a favor and you're doing yourself a favor. Many of these people would make wonderful leaders if they weren't such thieves. But the moment you get into that warp of being part and parcel of misdeeds, you also change. And you become that very person you said you would not be. So you may mean well and say, this is what you want to do, but you won't, because you've changed. You're a different person. And when you keep quiet, that person who has changed for the worse will get worse. And your lives will also get worse. So you halt it by telling someone, look, this is not the way we want things done. We gave you this thing, we support you, but this is how we want it done. Now let's go about it this way, and so that everybody benefits. Yes. It's not a fight. It's communication. Yes.
And City, during this festive season, we know this is the time when, based off history, a lot of these leaders go back to their constituencies. They go back to their people pretty much to meet up with the people, have a chit chat with them, and it will be really interesting to see how they will be received back home, because Kenyans now are ready to receive them and tell them really how they feel.
It will unfold nicely. There will be places where people will be told they do not wish to be seen clearly. What I'm waiting to see is when they hold those huge bashes where livestock die, whether people will shun it or whether they'll attend. I wait to see all that, because it is a couple of days when you're at home. How does that change anything?
Yeah.
You see, it is good when leaders go back to their homes to greet their people, to see them, to share with them. It is good. But the other way around, why don't you visit your constituents in their homes? Ask how many of them will be invited to people's homes to share what those people have. Not you being the person who gives everybody something. No. A vote of confidence in your leadership will be whether people invite you to their homes and want to share with you what they have. That will be a sign. But the political leadership seems to have, when we moved from simple celebrations to what we call homecomings, you tell me, what do those homecomings achieve? It's a massive display of what it is that you can spend your spending power, and then it's done. And then what? The problems that were there, did they even move an inch? No. Nada. If it's moving not even a squeak, it's exactly where it was. And if you look carefully, you'll likely find what's funding that so-called feel-good session is your own money. Which, this vicious cycle has to end.
And as we talk about this vicious cycle coming, has to end, it behooves upon us as the citizens of this country to start saying no to these things. It behooves upon us to, when they come, there's a saying that they say, akikuletea pesa, kula, but do the right thing. I think it's about time that we also start saying,
no, reject that money.
Reject that money. Tell him, we gave you a job.
Please
don't give us the fish. Take us to be fishermen ourselves, because that way we are able to be self-sustaining.
To understand just how serious this thing is and what it is that we are turning to. The Business Daily is a story of betting retail sectors jumps the ads jump from 1.3 billion to 2.6 billion. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, why would the betting companies spend so much money, 2.5 rather? Why would they spend so much money on advertising? Because they've realized that more and more people are gambling. Now, the gambling speaks to desperation. It speaks to people not knowing what to do, where to turn to. And so, you go into magical thinking and thinking that this money if I put in this, I might just get out of my problems. And then you end up spending all that money and you end up in a worse situation than you were before. Even the money you had is now gone and there's nothing to show for it.
Mm-hmm.
There are indicators that things are bad, and this is one of them.
Yeah. And I agree, because I actually have a personal example of someone I know went to campus, studied, 4th year, gets into gambling. You know the way, like, your parent trusts you to go pay for fees, yeah? So all they do is they give you the money, you go prepare the bank slips, you go make all those payments, and all you need is the receipt that you take to school. This young man spent an entire academic year's fees, never got to graduate. The parents never got to know. The only time they got to understand what was happening was when everyone is graduating, but they've not been invited to attend their son's graduation. That's when this young man comes out clean. Asked why? I was desperate. I did not have money to take care of myself, so I thought I would gamble and get something back. 120,000 down the drain. And this is just one example that does exist out there. Because if today, as we talk about matters to do with gambling and them spending all this money in advertising, please go back and remember that betting firms are the highest taxed institutions in the country. If that notwithstanding, they still have money to spend in advertising, and spending this much in advertising tells you they're still making bank.
My friend, just do the numbers. Ask yourself the age at which people can gamble. Who checks whether you're of age?
Yeah.
Who determines?
And
they ask you for 10 shillings, 20 shillings. Do the math and ask how many people spend that 20 shillings every, not hour, minute. Every half an hour, every hour, every day. It is a colossal sum of money. But it tells you it's a business. They don't force you, you voluntarily go. And they even warn you and say this thing can be addictive. But this is something that has been proven over and over again. Anytime you find people are desperate and they do not know what to do, they get into magical thinking. And magical thinking is exactly what we've just described.
Yeah.
Yes.
Magical thinking, a clear indicator that things are not as good as they're being painted. Kenyans are desperate. Things are not going well. No. And now that gambling is here and just other stresses that do exist in the country, I say majority of Kenyans today are people suffering from mental illness due to how difficult life is. We are walking time bombs in this country.
Yes. How do you go into the season where you're going to attend some lavish function, lavish party, huge spending, and you don't even know what you're going to eat the following day or the day after, or what you're going to do when the new year comes?
The new year comes and there is school fees. It is 7 a.m. time for the news with Edwin Lisamira. Ruto has called for collective effort in tackling the femicide crisis in the country, emphasizing the need for moral and spiritual rejuvenation. Speaking when he attended a Sunday service in Uasin Gishu County, Ruto called on religious leaders and parents to build a solid foundation for children by teaching them the Word of God.
The government cannot be a parent to your children. Let me ask the church, please, our bishops, our fathers, the leadership of our religious institutions, preach to our children, teach our children the Word of God, mentor our children. The government has no capacity to preach in church. It is our responsibility to deal with criminals. But the criminals we deal with come as a result of the failure of parents to mentor their children, of the failure of the church to teach good morals to our children. And that is why I will not stop building the church, because we need a place where our children can be taught the word of God.
National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah has called for special prayers to sanctify Parliament following the invasion of the House by anti-government protesters that resulted in bloodshed. Speaking in Moroni, Ichung'wah called on parents to take greater responsibility in guiding their children and condemned the language and behavior exhibited during the protests. He emphasized the importance of cleansing the House spiritually and preventing such events from recurring.
Some of the words our children were using against leaders, against their parents, against their own country are not things that those of us who grew up earlier would ever have imagined using those kind of words. Na ni vizuri Bishop umeni challenge na nitaenda kuongea na Speaker Wetangula ili tutakase hiyo nyumba ya bunge. And the challenge we had, Bishop, at that time is that even our church leaders, many of them abandoned the work that they should be doing to guide the nation in a godly manner and become our spiritual fathers, and they became politicians. They became politicians and spoke more of politics than spiritual guidance.
The National Transport and Safety Authority, the police and other stakeholders have partnered to sensitize motorists and passengers on road safety in an effort to prevent road accidents during this festive season. Speaking during the launch of the exercise in Naivasha, Traffic Commandant Grace Kaikai said they are targeting motorists and passengers on major roads to enforce safety measures and traffic laws. Kaikai said police have been deployed across major highways to ensure compliance and safety. She announced a major crackdown on unroadworthy vehicles, speeding and overlapping drivers who cause traffic congestion. Former Agriculture CS Mithika Linturi has criticized President William Ruto's government for allegedly marginalizing the Meru community from key national political decisions, including state appointments. Linturi, who's a former Meru senator, has accused Ruto of failing to recognize their contributions of the contributions of the Meru community to his election victory.
Sababu ni lazima heshima ya watu wa Meru irudi. Tumechoka kudharauliwa, tumechoka kuangaliwa na macho hasifu. Sisi ni watu ambao wana maana. Our 800,000 votes must count. And we are now clever more than before. Tulikubali, tukaamini. Sasa madharau ni tele.
10 members of a family have died after a private plane crashed into the city of Gramado in southern Brazil. Brazilian businessman Luis Claudio, who was piloting the plane, was killed in the crash alongside his wife, 3 daughters and other family members. A statement from his company said Claudio was taking his family on a trip and the plane had taken off in unfavorable weather conditions. The small plane reportedly hit the chimney of a building as well as a house and a shop as it fell. Local authorities say 17 people on the ground were injured in the accident, including 2 in a serious condition. That's the News Wire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
The traffic this morning seems to be okay, nothing much to report about other than around Landis Road, Railways bus stage, and that is because that is the area upon which we have a lot of buses that are ferrying Kenyans to various parts of the country. As you approach Uhuru Highway as well, there is nothing much happening on the roads. But if we look at Waiyaki Way, there's nothing much on Waiyaki Way. Pretty much the roads are clear this morning, nothing much happening. But as CT always says, the only traffic you will experience is Kenyans going about their businesses. But in all that you do, please be safe and take care of yourselves. That's your traffic this morning.
is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice is the Situation Room, the only way to start your mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself is the Situation Room, the only way to start your...
It is 7 minutes after 7 a.m. and welcome to the Situation Room. My name is Dennis Aseto. Today we are cruising nicely with CT Muga this morning, and in studio today we are having conversations around the judiciary and the judiciary we want, and we are going to be having this conversation with Nelson Havi, who is the 49th president of the Law Society of Kenya, as we have this discussion. Good morning, Havi. How are you doing?
Good morning, I'm well.
Karibu sana to the Situation Room. You are seated on the hot seat. It is the festive season as well, but the hotness of the seat never ceases to go down. But before we get to that, Siti Muga, what is the proverb of the day?
Proverbs for today are from the state of Eritrea. I need to be clear, Eritrea, as opposed to Eritrea, which is a small town in Greece, and a town called Euboea. Okay? Pronouncing them sounds like I'm saying the same thing, but I'm not really saying. One has an EU. Anyway, forget it. Two different places. Okay? Now, many countries on this continent fought for liberation from a colonial past, and the colonialists were from the western part of Europe. This is a country that fought for independence from Ethiopia. And one could argue it was a province. It formed a province in Ethiopia. Well, no longer so. It is an independent country. And it got independence on the 1st of September 1961. It was de facto in 24th May 1991, de jure in 24th May 1993. It has a population. Wikipedia is not clear whether they're 3.6 million or whether they're 6.7 million, but they're about. Okay. He who pursues the chicken often falls, but the chicken has to continue running.
Havi, what do you make of that?
Well, the chicken must continue running because it's a run for its life, because the assailant wants it eaten. But even on the part of the assailant, however many times he falls, he will always rise up and pursue the chicken until the mission is accomplished.
So the determination on both sides.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's a dichotomy of two perspectives: the run for life and the intermittent fall that determines further progress.
At the end of the day, the mission has to be completed.
Absolutely.
Either you outrun the chaser, or the chaser outruns you.
Absolutely.
All right.
The chaser gives up.
Or the chaser gives up.
This chaser is not giving up.
And that actually makes a lot of sense during this festive season. Yeah, a lot of chickens will be trying to outsmart the chaser. Now, I have it this morning. I want to talk about the judiciary we want. It has been an interesting year for this country in matters to do with the judiciary and the law that does exist. We're also coming at a point where we experienced a situation in the country during the Gen Z protest that saw a very momentous part of legislation thrown out, pretty much because Kenyans say no to that. This coupled up with now even the story on the Standard now, lawyers call for the overhaul of judicial system. Seems like the judiciary seems to be going through it. What is our status today as we talk as Kenyans in terms of the judiciary there is vis-a-vis the judiciary that we want?
My teacher, good friend, and sometimes look alike, because people have always told me, are you PLO's brother?
Are you?
Well, I don't know. Maybe our mothers may give an answer. But it's most likely I'm not, because PLO is almost my mother's age.
Oh.
So the point is this. PLO postulated that we can have a bad executive, we can have a bad legislature, but we can never have a bad judiciary. On the 25th of June 2024, the people of Kenya emphatically stated that they'd lost faith in the executive and the legislature by occupying parliament. Effective that day, parliament ceased to have the sanctity of the law. It ceased to have the sovereign delegated power given by the people. Our only bastion of hope was the judiciary. The judiciary has failed. The prophecy of Professor PLO Lumumba has come to pass. We now have a bad executive, we have a bad legislature, and we have a bad judiciary. We are in a very perilous state, because when the judiciary fails, where from shall there be justice to the people of Kenya? But this is a failure that is with respite. I say this informally because we have no control of the executive, however much we put in effort to ensure that it is in tandem. Because you can see the machination. All the players will always be assembled to camouflage the issue so that they give themselves some sustainable time. Same with Parliament. Remember, I obtained an advisory from Chief Justice David Kanani Maraga for the dissolution of Parliament. The executive did not take action contrary to the advice. Unfortunately, the judiciary was also conscripted in this enterprise to ensure that our resolve to get a parliament that is functional, that conforms to the constitution and dictates of the people, is in place. Now, for the judiciary, we will not let it go down. And will not let it go down because we are the ones that constitute the judiciary. Every magistrate, every judge is first a lawyer, and second, a magistrate or a judge. It's therefore incumbent upon us to ensure that the lost glory of the judiciary is retained. That therefore explains the momentum that has hitherto culminated in the demand for the resignation of the Chief Justice Martha Koome, the disciplinary of magistrates and judges who have evolved into what my friend in Kisii, Mr. Ombati, calls unlicensed auctioneers, selling justice to the highest bidder. We need the Chief Justice to resign. We need to have a fresh vetting of judges and magistrates so that we have an overhaul of the judicial system.
And if you look at the Standard, let me just quote what LSK has said now.
Yes.
The legal community argue that such a process is essential for restoring integrity in the judiciary, citing various controversy cases, particularly those involving elections and tax regulations. Now, lawyers contend that the vetting would review not only the judges themselves, but their decisions and overall conduct. Now, a memorandum from the Law Society of Kenya to the judiciary points to the current judicial system as one that has left millions of Kenyans without access to justice, sparking calls for swift reforms. Now, Faith Odhiambo, the LSK chairperson, has said the lobby will form a committee early next year to collect complaints regarding judicial misconduct with the aim of addressing corruption. Now, let me just quote what she said. The most glaring form of judicial misconduct has to be corruption. Instead of justice and truth being weighed against evidence, it is traded and auctioned to the highest bidder, and total disregard to the rule of law and constitutional and legal principles. Harvey, as Kenyans in this country today, when we go to protest and we are attacked, we are abducted, when there is a corruption scandal that is there, talk about Nelson Amenya, who raised issues to do with Adani and all these issues, the only place we want to run to is the courts, because we believe that the courts is the neutral arbiter who will listen to us and give us that which we can't get from the from Parliament, that we can't get from the executive. Judiciary is the only place we run to. But when such is being evidenced and premised, not only just from the LSK, but Kenyans themselves are saying we do not trust the judiciary, where do we stand? Where do we run to as Kenyans? Because this is pretty emotional, because I do not know where to go to, Harvey. I don't know.
First and foremost, we must laud the effort taken by the President of the Law Society of Kenya, Madam Faith Odhiambo. You know, often people think that Faith Odhiambo is my successor. There was a president between Faith Odhiambo and I. But the vigor with which Faith Odhiambo has pursued the cause of justice for the people of Kenya is one that is outstanding. You know, I think history repeats itself. The president of the Law Society of Kenya, who led us in demanding the resignation of a Chief Justice, then Bernard Chunga, was female, the great Honorable Rachel Omamo. It is an opportune time now for President Faith Odhiambo to do that which has been done before by somebody of her similar caliber, to demand advocates to march from the offices of the Law Society of Kenya to the Milimani Commercial Courts and thereafter to the Supreme Court, and present a petition not to the Judicial Service Commission but to Chief Justice Martha Koome, enumerating the failure on her part to take charge of the judiciary, fundamentally on two things. One, endemic corruption, and two, failure by judges to determine cases on time, and demand her immediate resignation. Because we cannot have a Chief Justice who chairs the Judicial Service Commission to be a subject of a petition before the Judicial Service Commission and expect that there will be a favorable outcome. You know, before this pinnacle of this agitation by the President of the Law Society, I mean, Nasir Abdullahi and I had voiced concern, loudly so, but were dismissed to the extent that the Chief Justice came on air and said the two of us are discriminating against her on account of gender. She went further to say we are bullying her. What will she say now that a female president of the Law Society of Kenya has called her out? But let me underscore what the president has said. Justice is being auctioned. And remember, in my commencing statements, I said it's being auctioned by unlicensed auctioneers. Judges and magistrates are supposed to determine cases, not to be bought by litigants or their advocates. And you've effectively depicted the picture. It's a perfect picture story, the lamentation of the common Kenyan. Where do we go from now? So we must have a concerted effort. Kenyans stormed Parliament on the 25th of June. What did the executive do? It assembled very quickly, incorporated the big players in the political setting in Kenya so as to silence. But we will not allow that to happen in the judiciary because, as PLO has said, the other two arms of government may be bad. They're always bad. The judiciary can never be allowed to be bad. It can never be allowed to disintegrate.
In the year 2003, when President, the former late President Mwai Kibaki was president, we had something that is still spoken of called the Judicial Radical Surgery.
Yes.
And it was led by Justice Aaron Rengira.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of bodies moved. People resigned because that was an option. Some were let go, some fought, some succeeded, very few actually succeeded. 18 High Court judges, 82 magistrates and 5 judges of the Court of Appeal. Did that bring about the change that was touted as being sought for? Did the judiciary then turn itself into something that one could say was the model that had been envisioned? Because when you take such a step, there's something you want to achieve.
Yes.
Did we actually achieve it, Nelson?
Elder, let me punctuate the longevity of the cancer that is impunity and corruption in the judiciary. The judicial purge was undertaken in 2003.
Yes.
And then the vetting of judges and magistrates was undertaken in 2011. Almost a period of 10 years.
Yes, 8 years actually.
Yes, 8 years.
Yes.
Now, since the end of the vetting of judges and magistrates, it's almost another 8 to 10 years.
Precisely so.
So, any medical practitioner examining this cancer will be in a position to tell you, as a matter of fact, the cancer becomes endemic
Or it should have killed you by then.
Yes, post the 5th year. It is therefore imperative that we have a vetting of judges and magistrates after every 5 years. This must be entrenched in law. And it's not novel. We already have the Vetting of Judges and Magistrates Act, which domiciled the process that we had in 2011-2012. To answer your question, will it be appropriate for us to have a purge? Yes, I think we need to have a purge. I always learn a lot from the example of Flight Lieutenant Jerry Rawlings. When he took over the reins of leadership in Ghana, he killed 3 former presidents, killed several generals, because you need to eradicate these people. It may have been unfair then, but the effect was lasting. It was deterrent enough. So for now, the quick remedy is a purge. We need the Chief Justice to leave office now. We're going to list the judges who have complaints before the Judicial Service Commission. Some are so egregious that they do not need us to waste any more time. We'll demand their immediate resignation. They have to go home. And if they don't want to go home, they will be taken through the process of a tribunal. And it'll be painful. This time, the moment they are removed from office as judge, they will be followed. All the property that they have acquired during their tenure as judges will have to be forfeited. Asset recovery will have to kick in. We will demand that the Law Society gives them a certificate of dishonor so that they never practice law again. And that is the reason as to why we're extending an olive branch. And we said this the other day, Paul Mwite, Dr. Gibson Kamau Kuria, Ahmed Nasser Abdullahi, and myself. This year marks the end of corrupt and incompetent judges. Effective 1st January, we will be extremely ruthless as Flight Lieutenant Jerry Rawlings. We'll shoot all these corrupt judges.
Well, I'm sure you mean it metaphorically, because what is it that we actually accuse these judges of? What is it that they have done, and is there evidence to support what it is that you're saying?
The Constitution demarcates 3 parameters upon which a judge may be removed from office. 1 is incompetence, 2 is gross misconduct, 3 is misbehavior. We have never had a judge removed from office on account of incompetence. Hardly so, and appropriately so. Because by the time you are appointed a judge, you are a distinguished advocate. So you are competent. So most of these removals will fall in the last 2 and 3rd categories: misconduct and misbehavior. There has been rampant misconduct and misbehavior amongst judges and magistrates. Let me just elaborate, then I'll get back to your point. Okay. Your question is quite appropriate. You've said, where's the evidence?
Yes.
Look, Elder, sorry if I may appear a little bit impertinent. Have you ever seen 2 people have intercourse?
Have I ever seen
2 people have intercourse?
So you are asking me if I've watched X-rated movies?
No. Live. No. Okay, let me progress.
Well, I can only answer the question, why on earth would I want to do that?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So, intercourse, just as bribery, is undertaken in secrecy. But we'll be able to see the product of that secrecy. Yesterday, I posted a decision of the Supreme Court where the 5 judges said, we don't have jurisdiction to determine this matter pertaining to the Kenya Bureau of Standards. But that notwithstanding, let us look at the merits of the issue. And they proceeded to write a whole 60-page judgment of the matter.
Having already said they don't have jurisdiction.
Yes, yeah. You know, where you come from, and this was told to me by Justice Richard Otieno Kwach, that if you come to your boma in the morning and you find the goats and the sheep missing, you need to ask 2 questions. Was it a cattle or livestock rustler, yes, or was it the hyena or the leopard that ate your stock?
Yes.
So if you check in the bushes and you find the dung of the hyena or the leopard with the fur of the sheep, then you are certain the sheep was eaten by the leopard. So the footprints of corruption and bribery will be manifest in the decision itself. So it is an anathema. It's turning logic over its head for the Chief Justice to always come before cameras and TV, radio stations, and microphones and tell us, could you please give us the evidence of corruption? No, you have the evidence of the corruption. It's self-evident on the face of the record.
And Javi, if I could just if I could just quote what you said now, there are judges who joined the judiciary with a bicycle, but now they are multimillionaires and they don't care what Kenyans think. Our analysis highlights the deep-rooted issues in the judiciary, including corruption, misconduct, and a growing disconnect between the bench and the bar.
Figuratively, let's not demean the bicycle, because the bicycle is the tool and instrument with which superior mortals like myself exercise. But figuratively speaking, these people were men and women of straw. You could even see their shirts, their shoes, their faces. They were haggard. But within a period of less than, and I'm talking about the crop of judges that were sworn in during the tenure of Martha Koome. Look at them. They're the ones who have the highest number of complaints. Over a short period of time, they have accumulated a lot of wealth. There is nothing wrong in anybody becoming wealthy, but it has to be methodological. The spade work must be done. But when that is said and done, we know for a fact being a judge is a noble, honorable calling. It's almost like the priesthood. You don't become a priest for the purposes of enriching yourself. True or not true?
True.
Yeah. So when you become a judge, you need to realize that you've been given the opportunity to serve the people. It will be a modest, decent, but respectful life. But they go there with an insatiable appetite for wealth. And it is seen. It is known. You see, in the legal profession, coming back to what I told you, and Canon Ambrose Weda will tell you, he told us this when we were in Kisumu. The problem with you lawyers, you know so much. You know who is sleeping with who, how they're sleeping with each other, where they're sleeping. But you never know where there is an opportunity for investment for lawyers to tell them, go there. But progressing from that premise, we know all the gossip in the legal profession. We know which lawyers bribe judges. We know which judges take bribes. But many of us are very quiet. They're very modest. They are, so to speak, collected. They don't want to deal with this issue. That's why occasionally there will be a generation of mad lawyers. I mean, Nasir Abdullahi, Paul Kibugi Mwite, Dr. Gibson Kamau Kuria, and yours truly, who will say, no, we've got to put an end to this nonsense. So we know, if I was to list the corrupt judges here, we'll need to close down the judiciary.
Are we going to break?
I think, City, let's take a break, and then when we come back, you shoot your question and we just go into how do we go into make you're calling for the resignation of the Chief Justice, and how do we just clean the judiciary and make sure that we have a body that is actually working for the citizenry. It is 31 minutes after 7 a.m. Let's take a short commercial break.
Online, mobile, and on radio. www.spiceradio.co.ke. This is the Situation Room. The only way to start.
Paris, highs of 8 degrees and lows of 5 degrees. That is your weather. These are. And the traffic this morning as we go through the city. Now we look at the roads, especially along Jogo Road going towards Landis Road. It is getting busy at the moment. This is because of the fact that Kenyans are being ferried outside the city, and that is the area where you find Railways Bus Station and the Machakos Country Bus as well. That is busy at the moment. But at the roads getting to the CBD, talk about Waiyaki Way. Waiyaki Way is flowing smoothly, and as we talk about Mombasa Road as well is flowing smoothly as opposed to what we experienced last week. Seems like the only traffic you shall be experiencing today is the traffic by your fellow humans. But as you continue to go about your businesses, traveling to different parts of the country today, we ask and beseech you to be safe, careful, and be considerate of each other. That is the traffic. These are
mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi. Spice up your life.
A holiday in South Africa sounds something like this.
The brunch with girls, the sport,
the paragliding,
the bucket list,
the vibes, the company, everything, the energy.
No, for real, babe.
And we made new friends.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. And cheers to sweet escapes.
The sweet escapes.
Your adventure in South Africa is just around the corner. Get 15% off flights when you book a holiday to South Africa on KenyaAirways.com. Come journey with us.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
And it is 37 minutes after the hour, and that is 7 a.m. And in studio with me is CT Muga and former LSK president, that is 49th president of LSK, Law Society of Kenya, Nelson Havi, as we just canvassed through the judiciary and asking the question, what kind of judiciary do we want? What do we deserve as Kenyan? City, you had a burning question.
I did. I wanted to ask if Nelson, if you say that you look at the judges who were sworn in at the time when the Chief Justice took over the office, are we suggesting that there is a problem with the selection, or are we saying that the selection was deliberate?
Look, Elder, judges do not descend from heaven in the morning and ascend in the evening. They are picked from our midst. They are representative of the intellectual legal quotient of lawyers. So I do not for a minute fault the selection process, but I must of necessity fault the process post-selection. Chief Justices like Dr. William Mutunga and David Kenani Maraga were very deliberate in the manner in which they wanted their judiciaries to function. They could tell judges in open that we will not condone corruption. We will not countenance incompetence, misbehavior, and misconduct. But what has Sigei Martha Koome done? She has conceptualized a non-existent doctrine called decisional independence, with the effect that any complaint you lodge before the Judicial Service Commission in respect of a decision by a judge or a magistrate will be dismissed on the plea of decisional independence.
What is this anchored on, this decisional independence?
It entails the false construct that if you are dissatisfied by a decision made by a judge or magistrate, then your recourse is on appeal. You get it?
Yes.
So flawed is this concept that I may ask, what other duty, decision, will be made by a judge or a magistrate other than a judicial decision? They're not butchers, they're not plumbers, so they can only be faulted on what they have decided in court. Ideally, Martha Koome has given judges and magistrates total immunity, and it's on the basis of that they've gone out like rogue hyenas to devour anything that they found on their way, including their own intestines. You've seen where the problem is.
I need to ask this question before I understand this fully. If indeed I have a problem with a decision that has been made by a magistrate or a judge,
yes,
beyond taking it to the next court or to a higher court or to what else am I supposed to do?
Right, Elder. And this is what happened during the vetting of judges and magistrates. Judges and magistrates were audited on the basis of the propriety of their decisions and nothing more. So for you as a Chief Justice to come and sit and tell us that for the entire 10 years that will be Chief Justice, we will not have a judge or magistrate removed on account of his or a flawed decision, then you've turned logic over its head. And let me give you the best example that was given by my teacher, Abin Nasir Abdullahi. Justice Nelson Harvey. Could you determine how many suns we have in the sky? And Justice Nelson Harvey says, having considered the matter, the facts and the applicable law, it is hereby determined that we have 3 suns in the sky. And then we take Justice Nelson Harvey to the Judicial Service Commission on a coupling of incompetence, gross misconduct, and misbehavior. Then Martha Koome calls a press conference, saying, we have examined this matter, and bearing in mind the decisional independence doctrine, this is an issue that can be remedied on appeal. For that reason, therefore, the complaint against Justice Nelson Harvey is dismissed. Are you seeing how simplistic, flawed is the decisional independence doctrine? It's a false construct.
Maybe it's maybe I'm not doesn't understand this.
Yeah.
The Judicial Service Commission.
Yes.
It is where if I am aggrieved by the conduct of an officer of the court, I go to. Is that not the place?
Yes, you're right.
Yes. So if I take this thing against Justice Nelson Harvey, and what the Chief Justice is pronouncing, I assume, is what the Judicial Service Commission has arrived at.
Yes.
So they will be saying that because the judicial independence, that's the reason.
Yeah.
Whatever complaint they had cannot actually remove the judge simply because they are allowed to make a decision no matter how wrong.
Ideally, that is the position. And it's for that reason that corruption has become so endemic that it cannot be countenanced anymore. You see, we know judges will always be corrupt. 10%. Let them collect fungu la kumi. But the damn guys are collecting 90%. Even God does not collect beyond 10%. Who the hell are you?
Javi, I hear you say when you talk about the JSC,
yes,
it is. I look at JSC, and you're open to correct me if I'm wrong. I look at JSC as a body upon which even I, Dennis Aseto, I am not a lawyer, but JSC gives me room, welcomes me to bring any complaint that I have against a certain judge with regard to a certain ruling or decision that was made. But now here's a question where if my door seems to be closed due to what you call a judicial
decisional
independence.
Yes.
Doesn't that make it difficult for me to get justice or to lodge a complaint against a judge?
Absolutely, yes. There is this adage that when you're told that follow the systems to pursue your complaint for remedial action, then realize your reprieve is not there. It's been tanked. Because those who design the structures and the systems know how to manipulate it. And it is for this reason that Sigei Martha Koome has elaborately manipulated the structure of the Judicial Service Commission to cushion corrupt judges. I do not know. Does she share in the bribery with these judges and magistrates? Because, look, notwithstanding our many complaints against Sigei Martha Koome, I've known her right from the beginning as a lawyer. I think we used to stay the same estate somewhere on Othaya Road. I've followed her trajectory as a High Court judge, as a Court of Appeal judge, as a Supreme Court judge and Chief Justice. Look, I really don't like her so much, but I do not have any footprints or evidence of bribery and corruption against Sigei Martha Koome. I'll tell you this without any fear of contradiction. Myself, I can swear by the Bible. I cannot come and say that I think Martha Koome is corrupt. So why will she want to countenance corruption by judges and magistrates? She may be accused of many things, incompetence being one of them. But look, I'll be the last person to say that I've seen or heard Martha Koome collect a bribe. That one I can tell you without any fear of contradiction. So why these guys ban the granary, let the rats be cremated? What is the big deal? If you don't let the granary to ban and cremate these rats, we will ban you. We will ban you. And like Jerry Rawlings, we will kill you. We'll finish you.
And as Trump would say, you drain the swamp.
Yes.
And the lawyers' body also pointed out that while there have been reforms in the judiciary post-2010, corruption and delays continue to plague the system, undermining its credibility and public trust. They called for a more effective framework for investigating complaints against judicial officers. Here we talk about the JSC. Now, such misconduct damages the judiciary's integrity and undermines public confidence in the legal system, which begs the question, as we sit today, can the judiciary say confidently that Kenyans trust them to be fair?
Kenyans trust policemen to be more fair than the judiciary. How worse can I paint the picture? You see, the police service or force, as it should be, because they are no longer the service, has always topped the corruption index. We've inverted so that the one topping is the judiciary. Nobody trusts it. And I can tell you without any fear of contradiction, whenever a client walks into my office, my first question is, can't we find a way of talking with the other party to resolve this matter? Because I am doubtful, despite my 22 years of an illustrious practice, that the court process will give us reprieve for two reasons. One, there is delay in the process. And I'll give you a very perfect example. Under the civil procedure, the intention is a case will be determined within 12 months of filing. There is no case in this country that is determined within 12 months. Of course, there are those before that notorious judge in Milimani who will find they have been determined within 6 months, and the 400 million that was an issue has been released. You get it? That's number one. There's delayed justice. Number two, you're not even certain whether this matter will be determined justiciably. One of my grandfathers left a big estate, almost actually 1,000 acres, with so much money in his bank account. So the other day, my elderly grandmother told me, look, my husband, come and help me resolve this thing. So I was at home in Kitale over the weekend, and I was telling my aunties and uncle, you guys, the 12 of you, you want one person to determine your case. It won't happen. One of you will be dissatisfied. Dissatisfied because the judge will either be incompetent, or I know one of you 12 here, because you're wealthy people, will go and bribe the judge. So me, a former president of the Law Society, a distinguished lawyer, is advising my grandmother, my uncle, and my aunties not to leave the matter in the hands of a judge. You get it? Yeah. It is this bad. Mm-hmm. I don't trust the judicial system. How will you, or Onyango, Kamau, and Mwende, Salim, trust the judicial system? It's failed. And you see, the Savannah mass ban. I've used this statement before. We need to ban this place. It doesn't matter even if it's I who is perceived to be the Pablo Escobar of this. Some people say that Avin is a bandit. I really don't care. I don't need to be a good person. Good people were buried last week. Bad people are here to deal with the judiciary. We need to clean up this place.
You know, as a layman, when I hear you say the things you say, my question always goes to, okay, now, this is the field in which he plies his trade, so he must know. Then I look at some of the judgments by someone like Chacha Mwita, and I say, but the judiciary works. He has gone and looked and said, this funding model, folks. Sorry. So are we saying that where we see the rot is in the commercial courts where lots of money are involved, are we saying that those like you who are propagating and seeking to find a solution to a problem which, as you say, is endemic, are yourselves without fault, that we can't point fingers at you and say, but these things you speak about, surely, have you also not been involved? Can we say that?
The only vice I've been involved in court in securing decisions is intimidation. That's the only vice I've been involved in. I've never bribed a judge. I will never bribe a judge.
And you're not planning to start now?
I've intimidated judges for the last 22 years, especially those who are taking bribes or incompetent, and I've gotten my decisions, and I will not stop. I will not bribe. And I must point out one thing that I must resonate with in what you've said. Chacha Mwita. You'll not find blame in Chacha Mwita. Chacha Mwita has ruled against me a time without number. You'll not hear me going to Twitter to make noise, because I know the judge has not been bribed and the judge is not incompetent. So there is something that I missed. And never have I ever appealed against a decision by Chacha Mwita. You understand? Mm-hmm. So the good judges are known. And there's nothing wrong in being a good judge. You'll have a good name like Chacha Mwita. Mm-hmm. You will walk in your village in Kuria without a bodyguard, and everybody will be saluting you. I walk in the streets of Nairobi just like I am like this. I can't make 500 meters because everybody wants to shake my hand. That, Mr. President, you're doing a good job. There is pride in a good name. Money will not take you anywhere. When you're done with money, what will you do?
You'll remain with your name.
Exactly. So we have several good judges. We have Professor Joel Ngugi, who we loved so much at the High Court, but the Court of Appeal loved him more than us. They took him away. We have Jojo Dunga, we loved so much, but the Court of Appeal loved him more than we did. I don't know whether we have any other judge beyond those three. Look, I can tell you without any fear of contradiction, when the day of judgment will come, if at all there is a day of judgment, Chacha Mwita, Jojo Dunga, Joel Ngugi will be told by God, there is a place reserved for you here with Wi-Fi and wine that will not intoxicate you for eternity, books that you will read to your satisfaction. Enjoy life in the hereafter because you are good men when you are on earth. Will it be said of you as Judge Onyango, Omondi, Kamau, Mogaka, Wafula, or Salim? Ask yourself, what do you want? I know one thing. 300 years from now, when even the place I call my home will have been forgotten, my name will still be in the history books of this country.
Books of history.
Yeah.
And Javi, as we've painted the picture of how it is, and the call by LSK, yourself, and Senior Counsel Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi on draining the swamp, getting rid of corrupt judges, the CJ to step down. How do we do this? And how can Kenyans be part of this process?
I think if you come from the village where CJ Martha Kome resides, you need to visit her over the Christmas holiday and tell her, Mama, you've been a disgrace to this country. Please resign. If you worship in the same church with her, tell her, Mama, you've been a disgrace to us. If you are in the same chama with her, tell her, you've been a disgrace to us. If this Chief Justice is your mother, your wife, or your auntie, tell her, you've been a disgrace to us. Please step down. That is the starting point. Let's progress. If a judge or a magistrate is your relative friend or your associate in any enterprise, you're able to know. You're able to tell how they have traveled in their path as judges or magistrates. Tell them, we know you. You've stolen from us. Please, stop embarrassing us. But that said and done, and as we ably stated on the 20th of December, we'll follow the laid down channels, but will not be compartmentalized in those channels. We'll raise complaints with the Judicial Service Commission. We know the Judicial Service Commissions will sit on these complaints. We will publicize the complaints. We'll publicize the responses. We'll evaluate the responses and the complaints and tell you these are meritorious. We don't need to waste time before a tribunal trying judge so and so. They have to go home. You get it? And look, did you see the speed with which the tribunal was formed to remove DCJ Nancy Barasa? It was less than 30 days. It was less than 30 days for the formation of the tribunal to remove Philip Tunoi. What is Martha Koome doing sitting on complaints for 6 months, 1 year? You understand? How long did it take to remove Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua from office? Did it take more than a month? No. And the process was undertaken in the National Assembly, the Senate, the High Court, and the Court of Appeal. You see, the impeachment, the removal from office of a holder of a state office of that magnitude is supposed to be a quick enterprise. You understand? A judge who has been receiving 200 million is a very dangerous person. Who are his associates? What measures has he taken to ensure that he suppresses evidence, witnesses? You understand? You can't allow this thing to prevail longer than necessary. As we speak right now, a tribunal ought to have been formed for the removal from office of Justice Alfred Mabea. We're wasting time. It can't. It is unexplainable. And Martha Koome shoulders the greatest responsibility. Chief Justice Dr. William Mutunga will have by now formed a select committee. Chief Justice David Kenani Maraga will have by now formed a select committee. By January, we'll be having a tribunal to investigate Alfred Mabea.
But Javi, there are those who sit and ask, even as I go through those who are listening to us today, they are saying, your issue with the judiciary seems to be a personal matter and not necessarily something that has any basis. What would be your response?
I'm a person. Mm-hmm. So any issue that I raised is personal. And let me tell you without any fear of contradiction, there is no leader who has succeeded on earth who doesn't have a personal interest. Mm-hmm. And it's the process of the pursuing the personal interest that you serve the public interest. You understand? And I've said this. When I vied to be president of the Law Society of Kenya, I told lawyers, I don't need you fools. It's you who need me. You know why? Because if I'm disgruntled by a judge, I'll go and deal with the judge in his or her chambers. I will go and seek audience at SpiceFM. I'll decimate the judge within 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. But you can't do it. That's why you need me to go and deal with these issues on your behalf. Mm-hmm. They will benefit me, and by extension, they'll benefit you. So yes, there is a personal interest. And the interest is this particular judge was paid money to compromise a case, to write a decision contrary to binding decisions of the Supreme Court, making me look like a fool before my client. That will not be allowed.
Have you submitted petitions before the Judicial Service Commission against the Sigei, against the judges you're saying? And if at all these petitions are there and these complaints are there, what's the progress?
Very few judges will be bold enough to mess with the matter where Nelson Harvey is concerned. I'll also extend the net where Paul Mwite is concerned, where Gibson Kamau Kuria is concerned, where Ahmed Nasir Abdullah is concerned. But these judges, the ones who were sworn in by Mother Gome, they are so shapeless. They're like sheep crossing a road. They don't know that some of us are armed and dangerous when it comes to dealing with judges. You get it? So let me answer your question methodologically. I have removed a judge from office, Justice Mutava. I removed him from office single-handedly. You understand? After Mutava, I said, I will sort my matters the best way I know, because it is costly to remove a judge. You'll be profiled. You'll be dealt with by these judges. They will advise your clients to shun you. That's what happened to me. But it's a small price to pay for the greater good. Understand? By the time we're removing Justice Mutava, it was in 2016. Most of the complaints I've seen, some I just say, let go. I mean, he will meet his Waterloo. But this one was so egregious because I didn't expect a judge to mess up in my matter. I don't take prisoners. My armored personnel carrier only has myself and my driver.
All right, that is a good place to leave this conversation, Harvey. Definitely more time is needed for this. But we hear you where the judiciary is today. It's a conversation that continues, and we will invite you some other time. It is 8 a.m.
Thank you. Have a blessed day.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 SpiceFM.
Good morning. This is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamera. The Ministry of Health has urged Kenyans to exercise extreme caution and prioritize their safety when consuming alcoholic beverages following the death of 3 people in Nakuru. The 3 died after consuming illicit alcohol. In a statement, Health PS Mary Muthoni emphasized the need for public caution regarding unregulated alcoholic beverages. Muthoni urged the public to avoid purchasing alcohol from unknown sources and be wary of suspiciously cheap or counterfeit products. Meanwhile, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has accused President William Ruto of allowing the illegal liquor and drug trade to continue in the Mount Kenya region.
Hiyo pombe ilifunguliwa hizo companies mpaka wa leo. Haiuzwi Rift Valley, haiuzwi anywhere else. Pombe ile yote sumu inaletwa katika mlima. Jana pale Bahati hapa Nakuru kumekufa watu 3. Simuliona kwa TV jana? Tangu wanitoe kwa kiti, ile pombe yote mbaya ya kuua watu, Rais aliagiza iletwe hapa kwa mlima. Ndio imalize vijana wetu. Machifu wameambiwa muachane na hiyo pombe. Wacha hii watu wakunywe wakufe. Polisi wameambiwa muachane naye, wata hii watu wakunywe wakufe. Ati ndio idadi yetu ya wapiga kura ipungue.
Gachagua, who spoke during a church service in Naivasha, also called on President Ruto to manage his anger and stop insulting his critics.
Hao watu walikupenda ya mlima na Kenya ingine, wakikwambia Kenya haiendi mzuri, mbona unatukana hao, unawaambia hao wako na pepo? Sidi alisema? So ukuje ujibu, kwa nini wewe, watu walikupenda, watu walikuchagua, watu walikuombea, mbona unawatukana? Hii hasira imetoka wapi? Na ulikuwa unakuja kanisani mzuri, nini, unaleta milioni 2 tangu tukuchague, kwani ulisahau hii kanisa ziko? Kuja na usikuje na hasira. Ukuje uongee na hii watu pole pole, uambie walikukosea wapi.
President William Ruto maintains that the planned mass vaccination of livestock early next year will continue despite opposition from a section of Kenyans. Speaking during a church service in Uasin Gishu County, Ruto said vaccinating the animals will help eliminate livestock diseases and boost the quality of milk and meat in the global market.
We have opened up markets for our dairy products. We have opened up markets for our beef products. We have opened up markets for our leather products, but we must contain diseases in our livestock. And that vaccination is being undertaken by our scientists with vaccines manufactured in Kenya using Kenyan technology. Hiyo vaccines inatengenezwa hapa Kabete na imekuwa ikitengenezwa miaka yote. Hiyo vaccines tunauzia nchi zingine. In fact, hapa Kabete we have among the largest vaccine manufacturing facilities in our continent. So I want to ask our fellow leaders tushirikiane namna hiyo, tuache porojo.
A section of politicians have questioned the motive behind the vaccination campaign, with the Kenya Veterinary Association claiming that it was not involved in the process of planning and production of the vaccines to be used. A number of politicians have also threatened to mobilize Kenyans to reject the planned exercise, saying the government is not clear about the importance of the mass vaccination campaign. The National Transport and Safety Authority, the Kenya Police and other stakeholders have partnered to sensitize motorists and passengers on road safety in an effort to prevent road accidents during this festive season. Speaking during the launch of the exercise in Naivasha, Traffic Commandant Grace Kaikai said they are targeting motorists and passengers on major roads to enforce safety measures and traffic laws. A suspect has been arrested in New York over the death of a woman who was set on fire on a subway train in Brooklyn. Police described the incident on Sunday as one of the most depraved crimes one person could possibly commit against another human being. The woman was on a stationary F train to Brooklyn when she was approached by a man who used a lighter to ignite her clothing. The victim died at the scene and the suspect was taken into custody after he was detained on another subway train. That's the News Wire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
And the traffic this hour, as had been a little bit earlier, is that if we look at Nairobi as we speak at the moment, the only place that seems to be having a little bit of traffic is Lusaka Road, Jogoo Road. As you go towards Landis Road, that is due to the fact that a lot of Kenyans are moving from the CBD from Nairobi today. Now that is the area that has the Machakos Country Bus, Railways bus station, that places where buses are packed there as they ferry Kenyans from the city due to the festivities. But other roads as well, if you look at Thika Road, it is starting to build up, especially around the notorious areas, that is Muthaiga Square, around Muthaiga Road there. As you come towards Pangani area, the traffic is building up slowly, but as you get towards Forest Lane and Limuru Road, the traffic there is moving. Now let's go to Mombasa Road. Now around Waiyaki Way, as we speak right now, it is a little bit busy around the Passes Center there, but on Mombasa Road as we speak right now, nothing much seems to be happening. And even the traffic that was around Capital Center due to shovels and trowels seems to be clearing up. That is the traffic these are.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have CT Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
And it is 8 minutes after 8 a.m. Welcome to the Situation Room as we continue to have conversations today. And in studio this hour, we shall be having Lucy Moria, HSC, the CEO and founder, the Kenya Pro Aging Organization. And you're talking about understanding aging in Kenya City. But before we get to that, how about we welcome Lucy. Lucy, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Yeah, happy festive season. Happy holidays.
Thank you so much.
Yes, karibu sana. You are on the hot seat. But today, before we get into that, welcoming you there, City. What's the proverb of the day?
Well, our proverbs for today come from the state of Eritrea. This is in the Horn of Africa. Africa south of the Sahara, north of the Limpopo. He who pursues the chicken often falls, but the chicken has to continue running.
He who
follows the chicken falls. You're running after chicken,
Chini.
Chicken
continues running. What do you make of that proverb?
I think literally for anyone who is pursuing anything, you can fall. You might not get to the goal at the time. The goal will continue, but you go also, as you fall, you continue chasing.
You put it simply and very well. Thank you.
Very well.
It's good. You have a goal, you pursue it.
Yeah.
You slip, you fall, you don't stop.
Yeah.
You continue.
Yeah.
Yes.
The only constant thing is the goal.
Even if
The
the goal
goal.
seems to be running ahead of you, just keep pursuing.
The goal never changes. It's constant. The time frame might change, but you still continue pursuing.
The goal might get to a certain fence and finally, I got you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It may fly over the fence.
And fly over the. And when you talk about flying city, today, as people are traveling, there's a lot of destinations they can leave from Kenya. We're talking about 140 destinations that they can go to, courtesy of Emirates.
You know, I've been saying this for quite some time now. And the holiday season is with us. There are those who are going to whichever destination. They'll need to come back. And then schools will open. There are people who are here and study out of the country. They'll want to fly back. I want you to listen very carefully. The message is actually very simple. I am saying this. If you want to fly well in comfort, and to enjoy the entire experience of flying from the time you leave your residence or office to go to the airport to the point where you actually land at your destination, please choose Emirates Business Class. Why? Because what I've just described in a sentence takes place in absolute luxury. Limousine service to the airport, professional welcome, choices galore. What do you eat? What do you drink? You sit, do you sleep? Do you just rest? If you want to sleep, the seat stretches out fully like a bed. You get a duvet, you even get pajamas. Now the kicker, the pajama you can keep, duvet you leave. When you wake up and you want to work, there's Wi-Fi. My goodness. If you want entertainment, man, you'll be spoiled for choice. You will not even know where to begin. Whether you want to watch sports, you want to watch nature, you want to watch movies. In my mind, they're all movies. And all this is 40,000 feet up in the air. Now, your time will be fully occupied, but it'll be occupied extremely well. When you land, same service to wherever it is you're going, and on your way back. So please consider, when you're considering flying, consider flying Emirates, but especially Emirates Business Class.
Lucy.
I see Lucy is nodding.
You agree with
I
that?
hear that. Even when going to Kitale.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Out of the country. Kitale is within the country.
Yeah. Now, Lucy.
Yes.
understanding aging in Kenya. Just take us through pro-aging organization. What are we talking about?
So, Pro-Aging Organization, it is a Kenyan national NGO, which was founded by myself about 5 years ago. And the main focus of the organization, it is to promote the lives and the well-being of older people in Kenya. This is including their health, including their rights, including anything that affects them. We champion and advocate for the older persons in Kenya. Mm-hmm. And who is an older person? An older person is anyone by the Constitution and the Charter of the UN. It is anyone who is 60 years and above. Mm. And I think that's what informs maybe our governments to have people retire at 60. Mm. So from 60, you are an older person. And for your information, they are not called the elderly. The right word, it is older persons. Mm. Because you could be older than me by a year or a day. That doesn't make you elderly. Mm. So a lot of people mistake. They say elder, wanafikiri ni wale wakongwe. Mm. No, anyone who is over 60 and above is an older person.
Mm. So Lucy, what brought you to forming the organization?
My background is geriatric nursing. Mm-hmm. That's my first. Maybe you've never even heard the word geriatric. Yeah. Geriatric it means older persons. Mm-hmm. And that cause is actually not even orphaned even anywhere in the country. Mm-hmm. I studied abroad in the US. I did nursing, I have a BSN in nursing. And it's not just nursing, it's specifically geriatric nursing. Mm-hmm. And
I have to ask, before you become geriatric, how old must you really be? Not just 60 and above.
Sorry?
For somebody to qualify to be geriatric, it's not just 60. You need to be a little older than 60 to be geriatric, isn't it?
No. Geriatric involves even medication with the older. That's why I talked about geriatric nursing.
So what age qualifies you to be geriatric?
To be geriatric, actually, I think it's still 60 and above. Mm. Yes.
Okay.
Please go on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's how, and I worked there for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. And I was always comparing the care I saw there in the US and here. And there are so many policies and good laws that protect the older people there. And they were not here. So I came back in 2012. And I thought I would be more useful here in Kenya in policy making or improving the policies of older people than in the US. Mm-hmm. So I decided to go for a political seat to become a member of parliament so I can have those laws and policies enacted on behalf of the older folks in Kenya. Mm-hmm. And so I went for the seat twice. I didn't make it. The votes were not enough. Mm-hmm. And yes. And because my point was to make a difference in that area, I decided that I don't have to be a member of parliament to do that. And I could still do it even when I'm outside. Mm-hmm. So that's how I founded the organization. Mm-hmm. Yes. And we're in 47 countries, a national NGO. Oh. So we advocate. And then how did I choose to do it? Mm-hmm. I realized a lot of people just take old people for granted, and they think it's the responsibility of the family or the community to take care of them, of which, when they think about care, they think care as just giving food and money. That's not all the older people want. So, so that's what brought me to that. And we need to create awareness. We need to advocate. People need to understand the older people. They are not just about just seated there and giving them food and just getting old after you have retired. Mm-hmm. They can do more other things. They can be included in more things, even in decision making in the country. You don't have to be in the office to make a decision. So to create awareness, I decided both the young and the older, because right now we are not just addressing those who are already old. It is even those who have not gotten there for them to know how to prepare, including yourself. And how do we get to these people? I thought a lot of people, they are online. And the easiest way to get this message to people is going through the social media and all the medias. Although I've been in all medias, including mainstream medias, talking and telling people about this issue. It is an issue. So until we as the Kenyan community take this one as an issue, we are not going to succeed. So I started advocating online. I have a big YouTube channel called Lucy Moria Network. I have been to all media houses, maybe except for this. I'm happy I
Welcome
met
to the
with
Situation Room.
Finally, I'm here. And yeah, so we're doing that for the last 3 years constantly. And we do interview all stakeholders, members of parliament, those people who are retired, they're directly affected, everyone, to get to know exactly what are the needs of the people of Kenya. And that's how I gotten to know what do we really need. Yeah, that's how I came to know. It's not about money. Like now it's Christmas time. A lot of us will go home. You're thinking you're going to see your parents. Your parents are not statues. They are not cinema. They are not film. They need to spend time with somebody. They need attention. It's not you going there, parking your car there, and then give you chicken when you're coming back, and you tell people, I went home to see my parents. No, our parents need more than that.
This more that the parents need, this more that people who are elderly, people who are older persons. These older persons, when you say you've understood and you've taken time to understand what is that they need.
Yes.
In Kenya, what would you say are the fundamental challenges that older persons face?
Number one is ageism. Ageism is when you treat somebody because of their age, including our governments, including even people like you didn't know that this is an issue. The media also need to understand. So ageism is just, hawa ni wazee wamezeeka, kwa nini anakuja kusimama atakuwa MCA? Why would he come to contribute anything wakati yake imeisha? Like you, if you go out there, you say you want to become MCA, you mzee anaenda wapi? They don't get to understand the experience.
Lucy, you've decided I can't be an MCA.
It's not me. I'm talking about what ageism does, and it is doing it, and it's a reality. It is there. Of course, you you can. So ageism is one of them. The other challenge, actually, it is health care.
Yes.
Health care, most people actually, as they age, it's when they got all these diseases. They've got lifestyle diseases, they get the diabetes, they get the mental health, they get all these, whatever it is. That is the age when everyone is having a cocktail of medication. Even the parents you're saying you're going to see, most of them you are taking medicine to them. So it is a big challenge because there is nothing, no policy that directly takes care of that. Currently, actually, it is even worse right now. The day before yesterday, I visited a home in Sagana, a Catholic home called St. Mary's Home for the Older People. There's a huge number of older persons living there. They cannot even register them with SHA. The SHA demands that for you to be able to register, you must have a phone. These are people who need help. These are people who are not even working anymore. But they must have a phone because you must register it through your own phone. How do they do that? They demand that you must pay 6,000 before the SHA starts working. These, we are talking about retirement age, it's 60 and above. These people are working, they're not even working. And let's not just confuse with the few maybe who have something too. And even the few who have salaries today, when you're home out there There's nothing that is income generating for you, and daily income generating. There's nothing you're waiting for. You could be having you bought farms, you could have built buildings, but if you gotten sick, like you have a toothache in the middle of the night and you have to rush to the hospital, you cannot just say, I'm going to sell my car, I'm going to sell my farm. So they do not have anything that is actively generating the money for them. So it's becoming difficult, especially now with the SHA. They cannot go to hospital directly and be treated. We have a lot of them with dialysis. Dialysis costs 9,000 a week if you have to one session. If you go privately, if you are to do 2 sessions a week, that is 18,000. How many people can afford that? Remember, we are talking about retired people, of those who people are not making any income at all. So that's also a challenge. The other one is physical. The physical one is you could be physically abused. That's abuses. We have a lot of them. We are in Nairobi today. Where are our parents? Where is your parent?
My mom is in my house right now.
Very good. Because it is Christmas time?
Nah, she's been here for a while.
She'll still go back.
Yeah.
Your mom?
Both my parents passed away a while back.
But you have something like an auntie or someone who is over 60 and they needs attention.
I myself am over 60.
So what you're saying, so most of them, and if you want to be honest, you have seen it, even if it's not your parents, they live in the villages by themselves. They are left with the workers, for those who can afford to have a maid for them or a male person to work for them. They are abused, they are raped. If they are men, they are sodomized. And these things go unnoticed because they already know that you are not even coming tomorrow. You live in Nairobi and you come in December to see your parents. And if they talk, they are afraid to say, they have confined with me and we talk. And they say, we can't say because no one is there. I'm left with these people. So that is another challenge. They are physically even beaten. You saw like the case which was in Thogoto. Yeah. None of our media houses realized that until BBC came to see their older people being abused there. I can't blame the people who have kept them there. The women from the church decided instead of these older people staying at home, we can put them together, feed them, because they think the need is only feeding. So that's another challenge. They even, like in the coast, I've been there severally in Kilifi, the minute you have some gray hair, you are killed because your children want to take your land for them to buy motorbikes.
Is Kilifi the only place where you see such cases?
No, even Kisii. I told you I'm in 47 counties. I've just given an example.
Oh, that's just an example.
That's an example of how physically they are abused. So they beat them up.
Are the numbers of people who are abused because of their age, is it a large number, given the numbers of old people number of people who are above the age of 60? Would you say those who suffer?
Actually, those who suffer more, they are those who are aged. Because like most, as they age, if you are married, maybe one of your spouse is dead. And if you, especially for women, so even the cousins or the brothers want to take your land, and that is culturally it's like that, which that is very wrong. They want to evict, and especially when you have no children. And it's even worse when you are older, you have no children, you have no spouse, and you are disabled. That is a triple tragedy.
It would be, you see, my question is, if we look at the number of people who are above 60 in the country.
Yes. Okay. They are about 3 million now. Yes. They are 2 point something, but that was by 2019. I'm sure by now they're over 3 million.
They are definitely over 3 million.
Yes.
Of these numbers, what percentage would you say fall into the category of people who are abused?
The people who are abused.
Yes.
It could be more than half, yes. It's more than half because majority is those who don't have anything or anyone they depend on. Yes.
So you're saying that very many people who are above the age of 60 don't have anybody they can depend on?
Yes.
And this is...
And the depending on means, before we were assuming that children are there to take care of you. And our children went to school so that they can take care of you. Today, they are full in the villages. Most of these older people, they are the ones taking care of their grandkids because their children have no job. They come in Nairobi, they go to cities looking for jobs. These people are left. It is not the way it was before. So they are more.
Do you have statistics to support the very statement you've made? I'm going to explain to you why I'm asking the question.
Yeah.
Because it is indeed something serious.
Yes.
When you have a population who are above 60.
Yes.
Who, if you say maybe half, suffer the indignities that you mentioned.
Yes.
And yet, before you get to 60, there was something you were doing.
Yes.
You are part of a group of people who are responsible for certain things that happen in the country the way it did.
Yes.
So the things that people who are now younger and take for granted were either built by you or probably damaged by that same age set.
Not probably. You did build them in one or the other.
Yes, and also caused damage.
Yes.
Now, that it exists, it means you built.
Yes.
So now we're saying that people of that age bracket, one, didn't have the understanding of what it means to prepare for old age. Because you are now old, and it's like you're figuring out what to do with yourself when you're old. The means by which you are supposed to live, clearly, you either didn't think of it, or if you planned something went wrong. You mentioned you hoped that if you took your children to school, they are the ones who would support you, and that doesn't seem to be the case because many don't have jobs. And there are cases where some have jobs, but they neglect parents.
Yes.
Okay. Is that the picture?
That is a picture. That is exactly what it is. A lot of our older parents, or even some even in our bracket, they still put all the effort on their children. They even sell the little lad they have, hoping, because of the mentality, and that's why we need to educate people to know the difference between of remembering you in the list of your list of things to do, not just putting your children there, and finally, you are not even sure they'll get a job. And even if they get it, they go. Most of them today, they are not even within the country. They leave the country. You find the parents who tell my children went to Dubai. No, they went to Warabuni, wengine wako US, wako wapi. And these children to them, sending money is helping their parents. And remember, these parents could have sold their land to educate you. And that is it. So when the Kenya Pro-Aging is talking about pro-aging, it's not about the age only. It's preparing these people. Another thing that has affected is the lack of policies, lack of act of parliament by our government, because like in Article 57, the only place where older persons are mentioned in our constitution, although the constitution is not supposed to be elaborate, it is Article 57, it is a responsibility of the state to make sure that the older person's rights are protected. We do not have an act of parliament in Kenya today to have all the things that we need to have for older people like the other countries. That's the reason I told you why I wanted to venture in this area where no one else has talked about. Right. We have tried. There was a bill called the geriatric bill, but it was more on health side. And it was in 2022. It was presented to Parliament by Governor Mushomba. She has also been to my show to explain Kenyans what happened. She said the bill was told it was privately sponsored and it was dropped. That was in 2022.
2022. I think let's take a short commercial break. When we come back, we go into preparing. You say this conversation is not just about the elderly. It is about preparing someone for that.
The aging, the aged.
And the aged, yes. So let's take this short commercial break. When we come back, we also tell you about what KCB through the Tujajiri program is doing for the young people who are unemployed, which according to you is also a problem.
It's one of the issues affecting now older people.
So after the break, we tell you more about KCB as we go deeper into the conversation this morning. It is 32 minutes after 8 a.m. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
This holiday season, feast, shop, and jingle all season at Sarit, your city. From November 28th to January 15th, 2025, Sarit transforms into your ultimate festive destination. Immerse yourself in the holiday spirit with breathtaking decor. Bring the kids to meet Santa, the Grinch, and Rudolph from December 1st to 25th, and enjoy live choirs serenading you every weekend until December 22nd. This Christmas, be the light. Join us for Africa's first ever Light the World giving machines, starting November 30th. Donate essentials like farm animals, food, and clothing to spread the joy of giving. Celebrate the season with Sarit. Download the Sarit Loyalty app at visitsarityourcity.com for all the details. Sarit, your city, your festive destination.
The weather with SpiceFM.
And the weather this morning as we talk about the situation in various parts of the country today and the world pretty much. Now, Nairobi, we're experiencing highs of 23 degrees and lows of 15 degrees. And in Kakamega County, highs of 26 degrees and lows of 15 degrees. And we go to the southern part of the country, that is in Mombasa, highs of 32 degrees and lows of 24 degrees. Pretty good weather to enjoy yourself. It is called the bikini weather. And we go to Nyeri town, highs of 24 degrees and lows of 14 degrees. Now to the lakeside city of Kisumu, highs of 27 degrees and lows of 20 degrees. Now let's go across the borders to Kinshasa, Congo. City's best city Kinshasa. Now that is highs of 32 degrees and lows of 24 degrees. And we go to Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, highs of 32 degrees and lows of 25 degrees. And we go to Paris, France, the city of love, highs of 8 degrees and lows of 5 degrees. And in China, pretty cold in China now, that is highs of 5 degrees and lows of 8 degrees. That is the weather. These are good morning. From matters to do with the weather, now we go straight to traffic. Now we talk about traffic in Nairobi today, and when you talk about traffic, Jogoo Road around Mbotela area as you go towards this City Stadium roundabout is packed as you go towards Enakoch, that is Landis Road as well. It is packed. Remember, this is the area that has bus stations that are ferrying people outside the CBD, outside Nairobi, to various parts of the country. But now as you go to Thika Road, let's go to Thika Road as you come towards the CBD now. It is bumper to bumper along Muthaiga Square there towards Pangani. It is packed. It is busy. Be careful as you approach that area, and Muranga Road as well towards Kijabi Street is packed and busy as well. But go to Waiyaki Way now as we speak. Now Waiyaki Way from ABC Place all the way to the CBD is flowing. Nothing much to report about, but we talk about Mombasa Road. Mombasa Road as well is flowing. It's actually flowing, but there is a little bit of traffic around the Enterprise Road there. That is General Motors that is busy and packed at the moment. That is the situation on the road. But on anything that you do on the roads today, let us be careful. Let us be considerate of each other. We want to see you in 2025, and at that, happy holidays and safe travels.
Intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi. This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
It is 37 minutes after 8 a.m. and this is the Situation Room. We are here taking you through the morning, and we are having discussions to do with matters to do with the older and in the society, and it is understanding the aging in Kenya. But Lucy is our guest today. Lucy Moria, who is the CEO and founder of the Kenya Pro Aging Organization. But before we get back to the conversation, let us talk about KCB Foundation now. Lucy, we talked about matters to do with the unemployment in the country and how that is a problem, right?
Yes.
Now, youth unemployment continues to be a challenge for the majority in the African continent, not just in this country. Now, with that in mind, while overall unemployment in Kenya is 12.7% between the ages of 15 to 34, who form 35% of the country. Now, over 1 million young people or older get into the job market every year, and with that, there is a matter to do with unemployment for those who have completed school or have not enrolled in any college, finding themselves being unemployed. Now, KCB Foundation established this initiative called the Judiciary platform that combines vocational skills training, business development training, access to finance, and business mentorship. Now, this is designed to make sure that these young people who are getting out of these colleges, they dropped out of school, they do not have skill, they do not have jobs, that they upskill them, they make them ready for the market, and that they prepare them for entrepreneurship, thus spurring what? Growth and the development of micro, small and micro enterprises across the communities. Now, the youth are trained in key sectors, unemployment, no skills. So which areas are we looking at? Which areas is KCB through the Tujajuri program looking at? They are saying in order to create potential jobs now, they are looking at construction, manufacturing, beauty and personal care, domestic care, automotive, creative economy, ICT, sustainable agriculture and climate change initiatives, as well as health. So they are saying there is a problem when it comes to matters to do with unemployment in the country. We have seen a million young people. We take them, give them the skills so that they go start their own businesses, so that they become self-reliant, so that they even go ahead to create jobs for other people in the society. And KCB says for you to get this information, kcbgroup.com Foundation has all this information that you need. And even right now in our conversation, we've talked about unemployment being one of the factors that is affecting the aging in the society. KCB is preparing the young people, and perhaps through your help now, we are able to help young people plan for what is to come in the future. So this is where we are at the moment. These are the problems that we are experiencing, that we are not planning for what is yet to come. So take us through that when you meet with these young people, when you meet with those who are getting to this age.
First of all, thank you so much, and I do applaud KCB for that. I wish every other organization, institution in Kenya was doing the same in a small way, and we all meet in the middle somewhere to help these people. One of what I hear from the young people, because I also meet with them, most of them, they have reached a point of being so much discouraged. Even if you tell them about even going to school, most of them are dropping out. And like the university education now is like very expensive. Most cannot afford. And others now get discouraged that even those you got and those degrees, what are they doing with it? So because actually even our education system has also brought this confusion, because we think we go to school so we can get a job. And job, we are talking about it, is formal employment. Because even doing your own things, maybe that's what's the current system code of education? CBC.
Yeah.
It is to equip people to think beyond just waiting for a white-collar job. I think our education system has also contributed to that, and that's how the mentality of our parents thinking that when we take them to school, they get a grade A, just getting a grade A. That's just cramming and get a grade A, you are okay. And now they come out there without any skills. So I think we should concentrate, I myself and all of us as a community, getting to have our young people or the people who are working right now to have extra skills that they can do things even without waiting for a white-collar job. And that one now I'll back. That's how we can incorporate that in the policy we are talking about, the senior older persons bill. Because there is no separation of older people and their children. Their children now are becoming their biggest burden. The way you used to have your grandkids coming and taking care of you, not anymore. It's you taking care of them. Because your daughter, your son has no jobs, they are not going anywhere, they bring them in the house. So you find retired people, they are not having any income generating activity, and yet they are the ones to rear these children.
Now we're talking about policies that need to be put in place to cover these demography, and I'm very careful on the words that I'm picking right now.
Yes.
And here's a question where the young people in conversations nowadays, there's this thing that they call the black tax. Young people saying, I'm paying black tax because my parents took me to school. I need to take care of them and everything. And it's perhaps because they do not understand the need of being there, not only just sending money, not only just going there during the holidays to see your parent, but making sure that each and every time you are part of them as a community. Same way they raised us, it is our time to be there with them. And it's not only from the aspect of a family, son, daughter, parents, but a matter of a community and a country taking care of its, I'd say, of its citizens who played a great role in building the country. How do we have that conversation so that everybody understands and is on board this conversation?
As I was trying to bring out the challenges, actually, I did not mention this one. It is also among, besides the NGOs and the health, this issue of loneliness and isolation. Social isolation is there. And this is where these older people are just very lonely. They are not included. The children have forgotten them. Even the community, even the religious institutions. You are as good as when you can be able to go to church and give your tithe there. Once you get old, and I'm talking these are things, I visit these people, you find them, I'm told. They say, even no one visits me. Maybe a few say the Catholic Church, they go to give them only communion. But because they are not able to come to church the way they used to come when they are strong, they stay at home, and that they need these social gatherings to be somewhere, to communicate, to talk to somebody. We had a case, I'm sure you are aware about that, the lady who died in Thika by herself for 9 months in the house. She has children, some of them are pilots, others they have good jobs, and one of the sons claimed to be sending, they have a standing order to send the mother 20,000 every month just directly to the account, to the phone. He was sent for 9 months and no one entered the gate. She was found dead with her dogs because that is social isolation I'm talking about. These days, people are just for themselves, God for us, and man for himself. No one even knows their neighbor. In the villages, we used to, maybe they knew, they passed by, say hello. That is the social isolation I'm talking about. So we should understand that that is where now the policies need to come about when, like in the West, you find they have like these homes for the older persons. But when you mention that also, you hit another challenge because they say we cannot go throw our people out there. The issue is not throwing them out there. It is where there's someone who can look at them. Instead, would you rather leave your mom in the house or dad by themselves, or would you have them in a home where you can call somebody, that's my mom, amekunywa ndawa yake, amelala aji, you send someone is taking, and most of them, they're on medication, they're even developing dementia. They can't even remember if I took the medication or I did not. So the social isolation is another huge problem. And because of this, my suggestion of the organization, if funds were there, I would have, we have daycare centers in at least every location, if not every ward, we have a daycare center. This is where the older persons can be meeting once or twice a week. They socialize, they eat together, they remember, they meet their colleagues they went to school with 70 years ago, and they walk with that. They talk things about whatever they want to talk about. There's nothing as dangerous or as bad as you being locked in a room without talking to somebody. You don't even know what to do. You have no hope. Your hope is gone. These people, if they're in a center like that, even our young people in schools could visit them. They can even talk to them and give wisdom to these young people. So they are heritage. They are wisdom. They are everything. So we cannot just throw away the experience. Your experience cannot be bought. What you know, someone who came from college yesterday cannot be you through your experience. You may do not even have a degree, but the experience. But us, we have people taken for orientation, going for trainings, like the people in the government all the time. Immediately you are 60 years, everything stops. No one even needs to hear from you. No one thinks Lucy or him or you can offer anything. It's very unfortunate. In other countries, these people are made use of. They are their advisors. There are people who made Lenana School, Alliance, the best schools in Kenya, and all these Miranda, all these schools. Where are they? Don't they have? Their knowledge is still there. They should be their advisors. Even if they don't have to work every day, we can involve them, include them, even once a week. They attend somewhere where they can give their wisdom. And still that will reduce the amount of isolation and loneliness in them.
We have a youth bulge.
Yeah.
The vast majority of our population in this country, we're talking about 70%.
70%,
are young people. Now, the largest portion of our population still happens to be still in the rural areas. Are we saying that the sort of communities that some of us understood to be part and parcel of the rural areas have also changed? Because the support system that people of my age knew growing up was one where, excuse me,
bless you,
one retires and goes home. The reason is because there's something to do. It may not be economically viable, but you are not exactly idle. And as for a support system, it's an enclave within which there are relatives. But now, are we saying that people who are young, the people who one could have relied on, either have left the rural areas or have gone to centers? Because with devolution, urban centers have been created in 47 units within the country. I ask this question because the West moved from that model of community existence a long time ago. The reason why Christmas is what it is here in town, because everybody wants to go to their rural homes. We still place some value on those rural homes. Now, when you tell someone to adopt the Western style of looking after old people, especially as what it seems like is you're abandoning your parents. And in many ways you are.
So, you said it very well. Urbanization has caused all this. There's actually no more villages the way they used to be. A lot of people, the so-called educated, even if you look back in your villages, when someone gets some money or some job, they start buying their land in Kitengela, in Kitusuru, in Karen, and they start building and living there. They buy apartments. There are no homes that even going to retire home, that is not there. Another statistics maybe you have not known, like in this Nairobi, we have a lot of people who retired and they never went anywhere because they have nowhere to go. Lack of preparation, what you are saying. And preparation, actually, it's not necessarily that you'll prepare yourself so you can go to your rural village. Maybe even there are no relatives there anymore. So it's the preparation, it's not necessarily for you to go back to the rural area, maybe even you didn't have land there, you didn't even build. Very few people who can afford even to buy land in Kitale and build your home there. So most of them, urbanization has caused this. And now to add more injuries to that, the devolution now, people are moved to urban towns. Let's say it's Yolo, where I come from. Instead of being in Martigar, Batula, where your villages are, the young people are moved to town in seeking for greener pastures. So still, and especially the pastoralists, even they are hit more because now for them, they used to move as families. Not anymore. You educate your kid to go now to get a job and come back home. They don't. So what happens? You are left there by yourself. And that is what it is worse, actually, for the pastoralist.
So in terms of having a policy from the aspect of the government having a policy that will look into this matter conclusively, making sure there is an act of parliament, as well as I see one of our Fiona Kemoli is asking about the Alzheimer's, I think I'm pronouncing it well, Alzheimer's and Dementia Organization of Kenya. What's up with that? Do we have that in place?
What is dementia? Dementia, it is degeneration of the brain. A lot of people think it comes as a result of aging, which is not true. It can even start even people who are 30 years. And Alzheimer's it's under all these diseases affecting the brain, they are under dementia. It could be Alzheimer's, and this is forgetfulness. You see, somebody does not remember the things. I can drive my car here. When I'm going home, I don't remember I came with my car. I start waiting for matatu. I'm in the kitchen. I was cooking. I forget. I start burning the house. Or you are like, I come to you. You are my dad. You're scared. Who are you? So it starts like that, and it's progressive. So that one, but mostly actually is older people, and that's why we need people who understand these things. Sometimes you could be dealing with someone with dementia and you don't even know. You think wanajifanya, they are making themselves. My mom these days that I stopped going to see her because she is so rude, she is this. You don't know she is sick. And that's where in the policies that we are talking about, we should have where we can incorporate the training of caregivers who understand the older people. In the whole country of Kenya, the whole country, we just have one geriatric doctor, someone who understands. One. She just finished school last year. She's of Asian origin. She has been also to my show. And she went to school in Scotland because it is not even in our universities here. So she is the only one in the whole country. Even the department do not have. If you go to KMTC, you will not find that cause offered of caregivers. And when you find a lot of people here in this country, you hear, we've sent people kwenda kufanya kazi huko nje. Most of these people, 90%, they go to take care of the older people in those nations where their government have policies for them. Na wataki, hakuna kazi ingine utaenda kufanya huko. Utaenda hii wanaenda yote ni kuchunga wazee wa nchi hiyo because their country values their people. So mnaenda mnaambiwa mmetafutiwa kazi nje, mnaenda mnaajiriwa huko kuwaosha, kuwachunga.
But does that not require training, looking after older people?
That's what I'm saying. In the policy, we need to have even trainings. We need to have, like when the homes which are established right now, they have nothing to protect. When you have a home, because there are some cases, even if you want them to take care of at home, you can't. Someone with dementia, someone is removing clothes, someone is fighting, someone doesn't even understand, even when you tell them eat, they won't. So how do you take care of them at home? In the rural areas, that's where the government comes in. That's why we need these homes, because they need to be taken care of. There is a dignity. They have the rights also. In the Bill of Rights, they are also Kenyans. They need to be taken care of, protection of the older people.
You know, religious organizations in this country are the only people I know who had made attempt at having such a home. But they
the Catholic, really, not all. Very few.
Really, so few.
Yes.
There are other privately owned homes of that nature spotted all over the country, but
For a regular person who cannot afford to go to the private one or to the, if you're not in the Catholic, they have a few of them, like the one I told you we visited. I was there on Friday. It's in Sagana, but still it's unkept. They cannot afford because it takes a lot of work. You need to pay these people. No one pays for those workers. These workers themselves, they don't even know how to take care of another person.
But what it tells me is this: we actually haven't embraced this idea of ageism. We haven't understood that actually we have to structure this thing.
Yes.
What happened in the past was simple. You were in a home, and we more or less lived in a rural setting. Grandfather, great-grandfather, children. So that system worked, so it didn't matter when you're old, they always would look after you. That situation no longer exists.
Yes.
So,
but that does not mean that the people stopped aging.
No,
yeah.
People still age.
Still age.
Yes, they
and they have the same needs they used to have that time when the family was around them.
Policymakers may not understand the severity of the situation because when they look into the future and aging, they don't see themselves encountering these problems. And yet, as you say, we've seen isolated cases in this country where someone's affluent enough, but they're alone.
Yeah.
Yes. In these current homes here.
Yes,
We do. Today I'm also visiting a home somewhere in Runda this afternoon. And these are not people who are like, do not have shelter. These are not, but they are lonely.
Yes.
But you know, we want to have policies, interaction, where even school kids, where even university students want to say, today we are visiting this area, we need to spend time with them. This is what we are talking about.
And you have actually placed it really well, that even for our legislators who are there is good to look for political capital. They might look at the elderly and say, there is no political capital here because of numbers. Now they're going for the young people and everything. But at the end of the day, this is a group of Kenyans who built this nation, who deserve the dignity that we are talking about in this show right now. And even now that Kenyans have traveled to be with their parents, be gracious, be kind, be with your parents, take care of them, show them love, because at the end of the day, we all will get there. I'm just shy of 30 years and getting there as well. So as we prepare ourselves to get there, each and every single person to play their part, play your role, and be a Kenyan, a citizen who takes care of those who built the nation and everything that we enjoy today. Now, Lucy Moria is the CEO and founder of the Kenya Pro Aging Organization. Thank you very much for gracing the Situation Room this morning. Asante sana. It is now 9 a.m.
Thank you.
Spice up your life.
Good morning. This is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira. National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has urged county governments to support the government's push to have more Kenyans register for SHA. Speaking during a burial in Trans Nzoia County, Wetangula challenged county governments to utilize public resources to sensitize the public on the benefits of the new health scheme.
Registration is free, but you need logistics. Muweke mafuta kwa magari kwa sababu kuna pesa ya county. Watu wakuje hapa Sekendu, waende Waitaruku, waende Cherengani, waende Kwanza, waende Endebess, watu wakiwa kwa matanga, waandikishe. Hata tukiwa hapa, tungekuwa kila mtu akiingia, watu wako pale wanajiandikisha. Watu wakiwa kwa pombe, familia wao wajiandikishe. Watu wakiwa kwa kanisa, wajiandikishe. Ili mwishowe ukienda kwa hospitali unatibiwa na serikali inalipa.
Leaders who joined Wetangula, including Health CS Deborah Mulongo, echoed his sentiments, saying one will only benefit from services under the new health scheme if they've subscribed to it.
Kuna hospitali ingine niliona walipata milioni 2, ilhali kuna mahospitali zinapata milioni 200 kwa mwezi. Sasa watu wakijirejista waonekane kwa hii hospitali, tutaweza pata hata hiyo milioni 2 kwa mwezi, na sasa tutaweza hata kuendeleza hiyo hospitali yetu. Upande wetu wa Trans Nzoia hatufanyi vizuri. Tunafaa kurejista ndiposa tuweze kusaidia hospitali yetu.
President William Ruto has continued to defend his broad-based government even as critics insist that it's a power consolidation tactic. Speaking during a church service in Uasin Gishu County, Ruto insisted that incorporating opposition leaders into his administration aims to promote national unity and stability. Ruto said the expanded government structure draws lessons from past protests and seeks to foster development while reducing political divisions.
Tulianza tukiwa serikali ya Kenya Kwanza. Hapo katikati mambo ikatokea, mengine mabaya, ikaandamana na mengine mazuri. Sasa tukawa na broad-based government. Sasa ile serikali imepanuka. Watu wamekuja wengi wa kusaidia kusukuma gurudumu ya serikali. Hata juzi mumeona nimezidi na kupanua tena. Wengine nimewaingiza. So bas ndio tulete umoja, tulete maelewano, ili lengo letu sio mashindano ya wanasiasa. Lengo letu ni transformation ya nchi yetu ya Kenya.
Last week, President Ruto appointed several Mount Kenya leaders to the cabinet, including William Kabogo for ICT, Lee Kinyanjui for trade, and Mutai Kagwe for agriculture. Former Agriculture CS Mithika Linturi has criticized President William Ruto's government for allegedly marginalizing the Meru community, particularly on state appointments. Linturi, who's a former Meru senator, has accused Ruto of failing to recognize the contributions of the Meru community to his election victory.
Lazima heshima ya watu wa Meru irudi. Tumechoka kudharauliwa, tumechoka kuangaliwa na macho hasifu. Sisi ni watu ambao wana our 800,000 votes must count, and we are now clever more than before. Tulikubali tukaamini, sasa madharau ni tele.
Former Meru Governor Kiraitu Murungi has also cried foul over President William Ruto's recent government appointments. Murungi, who was appointed the National Oil Corporation Board chairman, claimed that the Meru tribe was overlooked in the recent cabinet and parastatal appointments announced by the president. France is to hold a day of national mourning after Cyclone Chido devastated its Indian Ocean territory of Mayotte earlier this month. President Emmanuel Macron called for the nationwide remembrance during his visit to the island last week, where he was jeered by some islanders who criticized the slow delivery of aid. It's feared hundreds, possibly thousands of people died when Chido made landfall, bringing winds of up to 260 kilometers and 250 millimeters of rainfall in the first 24 hours. People across France will pay tribute and flags will be flown at half-mast in a show of solidarity at cities including Paris. That's the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
And the traffic this morning, nothing much has changed, and we go to several areas in Nairobi pretty much, and we talk about Jogoo Road as you go towards the City Stadium roundabout, towards Landis Road, that is packed up as you go towards the CBD. Regulus bus station there is packed up and busy at the moment. But let's go to Uhuru Highway now. Uhuru Highway going towards Westlands is actually busy. It's not busy, it's free flowing, nothing much to report about. But we talk about Mombasa Road as well. Mombasa Road seems to be flowing very, very well, apart from around City Cabanas there, that is busy. A little bit of traffic that can be witnessed. Now we go to Thika Road and the usual suspects, Muthaiga Square there around Pangani, that is busy as you go towards Muranga Road, seems to be busy as well. Talk about Ngong Road, nothing much to report about, is flowing. All the bypasses are moving, but remember that southern bypass, there was an alert, there was a notice by Kenha that will be closed down due to repair works and maintenance works that will be taking place on that road. That is the traffic this hour, but in all that you do, remember to be careful and take care of each other. Good morning.
Spice FM, Malindi. This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Good morning. It is 8 minutes after 9 a.m. Welcome to The Situation Room. And here we are today having a discussion this hour with Amos Muthama Musyoka, who is KCB Foundation Judiciary program participant. And we're just talking about the impact of KCB Foundation Judiciary program on this show this morning as we continue to have conversations on matters on how KCB has changed the lives of different people in the Republic. I am here with Amos Muthama Musyoka. Good morning, Amos. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine. How about you?
I'm good. I can't complain. How's the weather taking you?
The weather is quite fine. Yeah, it is amazing to have rain this season.
Amazing to have rains.
Yeah.
All right, so welcome to the show today as we have this discussion on how KCB Foundation has actually impacted on your life. But before we get to that, today I just want to let you know about a partner that we have today. And we're talking about Emirates. Yeah, Emirates. Now, Emirates has come to change how people fly across the world. Now, from Kenya alone, you have over 140 destinations that you can visit using Emirates, flying business using Emirates. Now, with this option, you have a lot on how you get to the airport before you actually get to fly, you know? Now, from the comfort of your home, you have a limousine services, with a chauffeur that is taking you from your home to the airport, relaxing, cruising nicely before you get to the airport. And when you get to the airport, you access now some of the best amenities you are on board this flight. You are traveling, and with that you have a sitting area. You have a seat that can recline. You want to sleep, you can sleep. And when you talk about sleeping, it's not about reclining your seat or having a footrest. No, baba, you can lie flat, just like your bed at home. And while you are flying, while lying there, assuming you have clients that you're talking to back at home, you are 40,000 feet in the air. You want to chat with your people, give them directions, because I know you are an entrepreneur. You have Wi-Fi that you can't finish. You have Wi-Fi 40,000 feet, you know. And if you say you're tired, you want to rest, you have movies from here to Timbuktu and back. Huwezi maliza. If you are about cartoons, iko. Ukitaka horror, iko. But leave alone even that. You remember when I told you you can sleep, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, at this point, you're given a duvet to cover yourself, plus pajamas. The duvet, you leave. The pajamas, you take. You want to enjoy the best cuisines? There are cuisines tailor-made to your local delicacies. You will get them on this flight. You want to go chit-chat with people? You can do that because they have a lounge where you can do all these. And you have landed. After landing, you remember how you are picked at home?
Yeah.
There is a chauffeur and another limousine that will take you to your destination. That is Emirates business class city.
My friend, you've said it so well. I'm actually thinking of how I myself can actually look for an Emirates. Well, I need to find a destination first.
You have 140 cities.
I know that's a problem, but my destination is currently just within Kenya. I must look for a destination outside Kenya.
Yes.
Yes.
I have one coming very soon.
You have?
In January, you know.
So you hope to use Emirates?
Business.
Plan and ensure that it is Emirates.
Yeah.
Yes.
And City as well, as we talk about matters to do with flying business and Emirates, let's talk about, after doing all these, there are the young people of this country who have been given an opportunity to make good the opportunities that lie ahead. We talk about KCB to Judiciary Foundation. Now, let me just tell you what KCB to Judiciary Foundation is doing to the young people of this country. Now, KCB says that over 1 million young people get out of school. Over 1 million young people get into the labor market. And with that, KCB Foundation has established the Tujajiri program to empower and equip the unemployed and out-of-school youth. Now, they say, since its inception, that the program has created, now listen to this, City, over 150,000 jobs. And then trained 35,195 youth. Incubated 10,954 youth. Disbursed 267 million shillings loans to support their enterprises, and issued what? 2,225 startup toolkits, and trained 6,535 businesses on financial planning. Youth unemployed, 1 million. Give them skills, train them, give them toolkits, and tell them you are now ready to go make money. All this information, you can only get it on kcb.com/foundation. Not me, KCB. City, welcome our guest today with a proverb of the week.
Yes, our proverbs for today come from the state of Eritrea. This is a country, the Horn of Africa. Okay, it received its independence not very long ago. It seceded from Ethiopia in 1961 September. Now, most people know when you talk of independence, you think some foreign country. This one, it was part of Ethiopia. They said, look, this thing is not working for us. And because they said it wasn't working, a war ensued, and they fought it for quite a while. But of interest is, this is really interesting. Ethiopia is one of those few countries on the continent that was never colonized. They were never colonized. The Italians tried, God knows who tried. They didn't quite succeed. But anyway, they are an independent nation. Their president is a gentleman by the name of Isaias Afwerki. Yes, and they have a national assembly. According to Wikipedia, they are called a unitary one-party presidential republic under a totalitarian dictatorship. I am not in total agreement with this definition. Whenever people refer to a leadership that is under one party for a state, it is assumed that the state will prefer there to be more parties. What if they don't? Then they'll argue, well, human like diversity. They do. But in matters of government, what makes you think that if there's one president and there's one party, you can't have diversion or a diversity of views? I'll also be told it's rare. Well, the rarity doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means it's rare.
Yeah.
Okay. He who pursues a chicken often falls. This is the proverb. But the chicken has to continue running. He who pursues a chicken often falls, but the chicken has to continue running. This is the proverb for the day.
Amos.
Yes.
What do you think that proverb means?
He who
runs or pursues the chicken often falls, but the chicken has to continue running.
Wow. You know, those are the words of the men of the ages. You know, we Gen Zs, when it comes to...
Well, you don't eat chicken. Or are they Gen Z chicken or you don't run?
Chicken.
We Gen Zs, we are used to seeing chicken maybe on the streets where they are already slaughtered.
Somersaulting, eh?
Yeah, most of us who have been raised in Nairobi, you know, when it comes to relating some things.
That's a very valid point you make. You're right. You're very, very right. Because if you're used to seeing chicken rotating on something or where it has been decimated and you're being told you can buy wings. You can buy...
thighs.
Yes, you can buy whatever. I agree.
Yeah.
It can be tricky. But this way we now ask you to stretch your imagination just a little bit. Have you heard of people chasing chickens that they can catch it?
Yeah.
Very good. Now, if you fall while chasing that chicken, so you get up and still chase the chicken because you're chasing it for a reason.
Yeah.
That's what the proverb says. If there was a broader meaning, what do you think the proverb was trying to tell us?
Actually, sometimes I will think of it in terms of the dreams and the aspirations which we have in life.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people may be pursuing after their dreams, and sometimes situations be in control that maybe you are not in a position to pursue the dream dealing within the stipulated time, and you kind of give up, you focus on other things, but the dream and the vision that you had, it continues whether you are pursuing it or not.
Now you see, here you had started by saying, as Gen Zs, we don't know how to interpret proverbs. And now you, Gen Z, have interpreted it so well. So very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Excellent.
Yeah. And you started by saying situations might force you to forget about your dream. Welcome to the Situation Room.
Wow.
Yeah. And right now, I just want you to tell us of the situation you went through. I want you to tell us your situation with the KCB and the impact of that. What's your story?
And I'm glad to tell my story. I'm a digital storyteller. I enjoy setting stories free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, my name is Amos. I'm a recent graduate from the University of Nairobi.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I graduated on 13th from the School of Business, Bachelor of Commerce. But while I was in campus, after I came to Nairobi, I didn't know where to get. I didn't know that the life in Nairobi is that much expensive. So in first year, my friend Kelvin bought a camera. That time, it was maybe around 60K. And we began to do shoots in the campus, taking some bookings among the students. And the students will love each other, the campus couples. So maybe in a day we would get even around 400. Maybe the owner of the camera gets 200. Myself, who was there just escorting them or holding the speed light.
Some con.
Yeah, I get maybe 100 and another friend 100. And then my interest and passion for photography and videography, it continued to increase. And later on, I met a friend, Barney, who he had a drone. He was a fourth year then when I was a second year. And I was so much interested on seeing the drone shots and the aerial shots of the campus. And I approached him, I told him, hey, Barney, I am interested in learning video editing. And so when we were at home, he taught me about video editing using Premiere Pro. Later on, we were many people that he recruited to teach them. One day he mentioned about a school where he studied filmmaking, Filamujuani, under the KCB scholarship. And then he told me that I myself could also apply for the same. Later on, late 2023, I applied for the same. And on January 29th, I got a call from Filamujuani Academy telling me that I have qualified for the scholarship. If I'm interested still, I can go and pursue filmmaking. And then, from then, I became a student of filmmaking under this scholarship of KCB Foundation. It has been of great impact in my life because while we were taking photos and videos in campus, I thought I knew everything. I thought camera operation is just a matter of just taking that Canon camera and then taking photos. When I went to school, I was like, what? I met other terms that I never thought of. I heard of documents that I never thought of. I heard of protocols and some languages that I used in film that I never thought of. And besides that, we also had some entrepreneurship classes in Filamujuani. And I realized that it's not just a matter of getting a client, you go and take 10 photos, you receive 1,000. They helped in developing an entrepreneur mindset in my life. I began to think like an entrepreneur. And to my surprise, KCB opened some business accounts for us, and then they guaranteed us that they shall keep on checking how the status of our accounts are and how our business are running. They have been providing advice unto us, and to my amazement, on almost our second day our last day at Filamujwani, KCB came and then they registered our businesses in the e-citizen, and that was so amazing. I was so excited on the day that I realized, wow, now the government knows me that I'm a business owner in Kenya.
So Amos, let's talk about, you've mentioned about your friend who was training you, yeah?
Yeah.
At that point when he was training you, was he charging you guys?
Not really.
Not really.
He was a student at Filamujwani also, and the goal of KCB Foundation is that they are training people that they might go and be of impact unto the other people in the world.
So this is the impact that you experienced directly through your friend who introduced you to Filamujwani through to KCB Foundation. And you mentioned something very critical that KCB took you, trained you, and even went ahead to open accounts for you, and they monitored that. So this monitoring of this account where you were depositing your money and they were monitoring it, how was that for you? How did that go? Advice that they gave you, how was it?
It has been nice because I'm still in the program, though I joined in January, because we have 8 stages from the technical training in the schools, and then they organize for an attachment for you in a media-related company. That is for us who are taking film. And then after that, we proceed to other stages of incubating your business, in making sure that you are provided with the knowledge that you need and the market analytics in terms of, for example, if they check in my account and then they see maybe the account has been dormant or I am not saving. So they will be worried, and one of the colleagues in their staff, they call and then they ask, what is the issue? How is your business? How are you managing clients? So through then and then, the support and the advice that they always give, it is so essential in our lives, because I can trace the progress of my business, and with their relevant advices, I keep on seeing my cash flows increasing and increasing. And by so and so, I'm quite sure that I may get a grant or a loan from them based on how my cash flows have been.
Your performance.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about being self-employed is something that many people talk about and they wish they could do it. And sometimes they even get to a point where they are employed. And there's this little matter of making money.
Yeah.
You have a business. Now, the business that you have, how do you make your money?
How I make my money is that mostly my main target is always doing events coverage. Because if maybe I get a wedding and, the client is mine, and maybe in that wedding, the client's budget allowed me to have other 2 colleagues. So mine is just to direct and coordinate. Once we reach home, depending on the budget of the client, maybe I can agree with the client within 2 weeks, I'm going to deliver your work, both the photos and the videos. So maybe I shot on Saturday, so I will be sure that maybe in the next 2 weeks I'll have this work to deliver. And that allows me, because self-employment is so flexible, if I can get another client in between those 2 weeks, I go and shoot, and other personal shoots are amongst my friends, those who need photo shoots. Yeah.
And Amos, when you are describing your journey, there are 2 things that I picked, yeah?
Yeah.
You thought that when it's shooting using a camera, it was just picking and going ahead. But when you got to, you said the school was?
Filamujwani Academy.
Filamujwani, you found where? Things there were not easy.
Yeah.
And when you were introduced to these things, there was things are actually tricky. Now, how did they, now as you talk about, you've gone through all that training, you've started your own business, it has been registered. How has that gotten rid of the where and the what to now that you are a business entrepreneur registered with the Kenya government?
It has been interesting because at first I used to have this challenge of when I approach mostly corporate clients or some even personal clients, that maybe you meet someone is so strict and then they ask you, yes, you know how to operate, I've checked your accounts, I've checked your portfolio, but where did you study from? So the certification part of it, it was quite a challenge. So even as I was going to Filamujwani, I thought I'm just going to study because I know everything. Then I will end up getting a certificate. And when the clients ask me, where is your certification? I gave them a certificate that is TVET approved. Through the classes that we had, I managed to interact with different kinds of cameras. I managed to get to know even other people beyond the classes, the connection with other people of the like mindsets, and even mentors in Filamujwani, because even sometimes when I face some challenges, I approach the people that I got to know in the school, and then they can guide me. I remember, for example, last week I needed to hire some equipment, and I was looking for someone who could support me get. And I really thought about someone I did not get, but actually there's this tutor that was in Filamujwani. I talked to him, and then he acted as my guarantor, and I got the equipment. So the solution has been the certification, to the people that I met, to the more things that I knew, and the language of the business. It has been of great impact. So I'm no longer afraid. I have this confidence that I can run my own business, and I don't need to go and... Because the goal of the foundation is to make as many youths, instead of equipping you with much knowledge of going and begging for jobs, because there are so many young people who have the skills, but also there are other people. So if you keep on equipping the people with the skills and then you don't show them the way of having their own business, I think it is not helping in the unemployment issue. The solution is then you teach these people, and then you guide them, and then you tell them about the fears and the risks in the business world, and then they shall face the same. So I think it has really equipped me.
What else beyond taking you for this course did KCB equip you with?
Beyond taking me to this course,
they took you to the course, they helped you register your company in eCitizen. What else did they do for you?
What they have done for me is they have really challenged my mindset, my way of thinking, and the motivation part of it, because I'm in the middle of a process. Because at the next stage where we are going about the incubation, it is where they will give us loans, they will give us grants, or even some toolkits. For example, someone who is in film like me, the filmmaking equipment are so expensive in terms of the camera, the lighting, everything. So through their plans for us, I have this motivation that maybe in the next 3 months, I can have a camera or a loan, because my business is quite performing on well.
I like the way you address this matter when you talk about the thinking, because if your thinking isn't charged and it isn't focused on making the business that you have work, even if someone gave you the money, there's no guarantee that you put that money to the use that it's intended for.
Yeah, that's true.
Even if someone gave you the equipment, there is no guarantee that you would use the equipment in the manner that it would benefit you. But if you see the greatest influence, that your mind has been geared towards looking for opportunities and doing work, it means that even when you don't have all this equipment, you will find a way of making sure you do the work, because your mind has been trained.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think as we talk about KCB Tujiajiri Foundation, this is city the kwa grau things are moving, like the Gen Zs would say kwa ground mambo ni
different
mambo ni lualala, things are moving, you know what I mean? And KCB says through the Tujiajiri program, it works in 3 phases. You can confirm this. The program sponsors training for students aged 1834 in technical training institutions to equip them with technical skills. It has done that right to you. And as well, the program incubates the enterprises created by these students by offering business development services. Here now the youth get one-on-one mentorship apprenticeship, how to register a business, create business development plans and proposals, marketing, bookkeeping, legal and advertising. That has happened to Amos. What has it done? It has created a business for you. Now, third, when the graduates are ready and their ideas have been vetted for bankability, they receive credit. They qualify to advance their business interest. This is also the point where KCB Foundation exits and the bank enters. Now, this as well, to be honest, you've said that you're looking forward to a point where you're able to expand your business and you're looking forward to maybe getting a loan to help you get this. That is what KCB Foundation through the judiciary platform is saying right here. And for you to get this information, you go to kcbgroup.com/foundation. But City, let's take a break, and when we come back, we still talk about how we fly to 140 destination across the world.
Definitely.
See you after this break.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to
get in the loop this festive season with the Loop Shopping Festival. It's the ultimate shopping experience, bringing loopers the best deals and offers with up to 5,000 Kenya shillings extra cashback when you pay with Loop at participating stores. Download Loop today on Play Store or App Store for all your festive deals and offers. It's not an app, it's a lifestyle. Why wait? Loop it.
The weather with SpiceFM.
Weather this morning, we're looking at several cities across the world. We start with Nairobi, Kenya, where we are experiencing highs of 23 degrees and lows of 15 degrees. And equally in Kakamega County, highs of 26 degrees and lows of 15 degrees. We go to Mombasa, Mvita, highs of 32 degrees and lows of 24 degrees. That is a pretty beautiful weather to enjoy the sun and the beaches of Mombasa. Now in Nyeri, highs of 24 degrees and lows of 14 degrees. In Nakuru City, highs of 25 degrees and lows of 15 degrees. And we go across the borders to Mogadishu. That is highs of 31 degrees and lows of 24 degrees. And in Kinshasa, Congo, highs of 32 degrees and lows of 24 degrees. In London, highs of 7 degrees and lows of 6 degrees. And in the city of love, Paris, France, highs of 8 degrees and lows of 5 degrees. That is the weather. These are And equally this morning, we look at the traffic situation in Nairobi. Now we look at the CBD, and the notorious cases that we've been highlighting this morning is just along Jogoo Road towards the Railways bus station. That is busy and packed up. As we talk about Ngong Road as well, we can see Ngong Road getting towards the Haile Selassie is getting busy as well at the moment. That could be because we're trying to access the bus stations around there, but the roundabout, the Haile Selassie Ngong Road roundabout is okay as we speak at the moment. And we talk about Thika Road again. Thika Road is just the usual suspects around Survey Muthaiga Square. There is busy, but along Waiakwe, nothing much to report about. But as well as we talk about Mombasa Road seems to be flowing smoothly, save for around Capital Center, the CID Trading School area that is busy at the moment. But that is the situation on the roads right now. You can equally tell us of the situation on the road that you are in, and we shall highlight that. But all in all, be safe, take care of yourself, and be considerate of each other on the roads. It is 29 minutes after 9 a.m. Good morning.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. right.
It is 37 minutes after 9 a.m. and welcome to the Situation Room CT, where we talk about flying to various destinations across the country. We talk about flying Emirates, not just flying Emirates, but flying Emirates business.
Exactly, across the world, really. There are those who will wonder, but I've never flown. Well, you say, but why would I want to leave the national airline, because we have one, and go for another? Well, look at it this way. Competition does wonders to businesses. One of the things it does, it gives the consumer something little called additional choice. Two, because it's competition, everyone will try to do something that the other person isn't doing to make their product better. Emirates are simply raising the bar. It's not complicated, really. They're saying, okay, there are other airlines who have business class, but we're telling you, come to our business class and just have a look-see and see if that business class is really what we say it is. Because it's not you on the plane flying. No. It starts with you planning to fly and you getting to the airport. And you getting to the airport in a limousine. Limousine is not some cramped vehicle where your knee is near your chest. No. Limousine is you stretch out and you are sitting and wondering whether you should take a nap. And you're moving. You get onto the plane, my friend, first of all, just the welcome alone will blow your mind. And then when you're told about what is on offer, I mean, you'll be hard-pressed to stop smiling to yourself and wondering, is this really happening to me? The choice of food, the choice of drink, the best that money can buy. Yes, and you're just in business class. You haven't even taken off yet. By the time you take off, there's a choice of lie down, sleep, sit, recline, watch a movie, work. When you're in the air, you'll actually forget you're in the air completely. Now, 40,000 feet up in the air is a long way away from. And if you can rest and do all the things you would ordinarily do, and in comfort, and in quietness, and in a manner that is pleasing to you, your mind will be prepared for whatever it is that's taking you to a destination. You'll be ready for it. And they'll make sure in your readiness, they also transport you to wherever you want to go. Now, that's Emirates business class.
Amos.
Yes.
You want to fly, you fly Emirates business. And we look at a future where your business is growing. Your business is doing well. According to what you've told us, your business is doing well at the moment and you're looking forward to even expanding, right?
Yeah, sure.
Now, here's you're still going through the training with KCB.
Yeah.
Now, after you're still going through the training, they have opened a bank account for you. You've registered your business. You're still going through with the training. You are an entrepreneur as you speak right now.
Yeah.
And here is a question where these are to open up opportunities for you, the certifications and all that. But in terms of the ease or the competition that does exist before you actually get to have that opportunity, how lucrative is this to your jury platform?
I would like to say that first, it is very, very lucrative. Mostly for us who are in the field of filmmaking. There are so many opportunities outside there. It's just up to people to open their minds and then you analyze. I talked about my issue of just thinking of being a camera operator, someone who takes photos, and then, that way, if you're running as a camera operator, you might be there complaining about the competition, or maybe you could even end up in the streets trying to look for money. But because of the training that I got and the understanding that I'm not just a camera operator, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm there to evaluate the opportunities that are in the market and use the resources that I have to make money. I'm so excited because of learning that whenever I need, sometimes I can actually say that for the times, the work that I usually have is even much more than what I aspired for. The truth is that, our work is just going to shoot, and then after we shoot, we go and edit. sometimes even clients do come and they want you to work for them or they want to shoot something, but you are like, right now, maybe let me just recommend you to another person because the work that I have, it's already much and I don't want to do some shoddy work for the other clients. So I would say, in terms of competition, as long as someone is an entrepreneur and you are business oriented, opportunities will just be there. And if you go to a place where you can see the opportunities, it is up to you to create them. Because of late you have seen how much impact the media is making even in our country. There are so many content creators who are earning a lot outside there. There are so many people in their own personal blogs, they are also earning money. So if anyone thinks of in terms of I just have to open a studio and take photos or I wait for clients to come, those are the people that keep on complaining in terms of competition. But if you are there, you want to create the opportunities, I'm very, very much sure that you can create as more as you want. Yeah.
You know, one of the things that you will find as a businessman is that the learning process never actually stops.
That's true.
You studied business. How is your studies in business helping you with what you're doing now?
First, I'm so grateful. You know, I've been in the School of Business, University of Nairobi, Lower Kabete campus. And there, I specialized in finance and marketing. And in the course, there were also other units like business and administration. So it's a School of Business. Finance and marketing is just a major that I took. But also in filmmaking, thank God for KCB Foundation. While we were in film journey, we had other classes of entrepreneurship. That was so specific in terms of entrepreneurship in the field of content creation. I'm always excited because every day I get to learn much more new things in terms of the business and the technical side of it. Like you have said, I agree 100%. In the world of business, you keep on learning new things in terms of whether you are listening to people, whether you are reading books, whether you are watching what other people are doing. So I can say my studies even in the School of Business and in Filamujuani, they marry each other. They do help me in running my business, mostly the marketing part of it and the finance. Through finance, I can monitor my finances in terms of my business and my personal accounts.
When you see your business in the future and you see it growing, what do you see it being? Or have you gone that far? Have you thought and said, okay, now this is what I'm doing as a business. This is what I'd like to see it. Do you want to own your own studio? What do you want to do? What do you see?
My biggest plan, for example, for 2025, I'm a small-scale farmer. I want first to be a content creator in the agricultural side of it, besides the other sides of the business prospects. But I want to have my own media production company. I'm looking forward to being these media houses where the NGOs and other communities, when they want to do content, they come and to us. I remember there's a project we did on my attachment with Jota Media. It is called Checkmate Violence, where we are doing a campaign where we are fighting against GBV, but we were covering the media part of it, and we went throughout Kajiado where there are so many violent cases of the same. So when I look at my business, my goal is to have this media production company that not only does the jobs in terms of business, making profits of it, but in terms of a business where it's making impact in the community, mostly partnering with NGOs, showing how they can help much more and more people by bringing them into focus. I am looking forward to having a business where I provide so many jobs and to many youth and empowering them to just the same way KCB is doing incubating people, and then you release them to the world so that they may go and create other jobs to others.
And Amos, you speak of KCB giving you all this knowledge and releasing you to the market to go and shine. And you remind me of your friend who, through what he had learned through KCB, introduced you into, trained you and introduced you to KCB. And we look at the ripple effect of what this is doing, because you're talking of your future prospect, your business growing, employing others. And that is what we're talking about, because all these job opportunities in the country are not there. And it's upon us to start our own businesses and be employers ourselves. And that exactly is what you encapsulate in this entire conversation. And to the young people, those who are out there and there are no job opportunities, what would be your advice to them? Because here's a question where there was knowledge, you sought it, you got it, here you are today. What is your message to the young people who are sitting and saying, hakuna job mazee, nianzie wapi?
My advice, and to every young man who is there, maybe worried on the opportunities that are there, is that never give up on this life. You know, at first when I was joining this program, I did not join the first group because they had already took some other people, and I saw that they had already began studying. But unfortunately, one person could not continue. And that is when KCB called me and told me that I have qualified for this scholarship. So my advice would be, never give up. Just the same way we were taught about chasing after the chicken. So, do not...
Clearly you caught the chicken.
Yeah. So, no giving up till the end. And whenever you get any opportunity to learn from anyone, you just give yourself and to learning. The more you learn, the more your mind will be opened, and start trying things. In summary, I would say that in life, since 2021, I'd never owned a camera. But I never gave up. When I looked at the prices online, cameras, maybe the camera that I would wish to shoot for, maybe in my business plan, the very basic things stood for about 780K. But also remember, I'm also a student.
Basic.
It's basic.
Yeah, that's basic.
780,000.
Yeah.
The one which is close to 1 million shillings.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
And I'm a student. I'm also catering for my other activities. So, but I cannot just say, let me just go to a company, I be employed, I save till I get capital. Once I get capital, that is how that chicken of yours would run away, and you'll be left behind trying to figure out other dreams. But I have survived through borrowing cameras from other people, hiring when needed. When I need some equipment that I don't know anyone who can give it unto me free of charge, I know people at town whom I can go and borrow, leave my ID, leave my whatever I leave, and then I go and do my work. I take my laptop and edit. So the point is that don't just give up. There are people, there are opportunities in which you can be helped in this life.
You know, your story is almost making me want to go and apply for this to Jajiri, but I'm not in the age bracket. Sorry.
We should actually talk to them, yeah? It's also exciting over here, you know, City. I think I can still get it myself. Yeah?
You can get it, one. You, my friend, in fact, you're in that catchment area. You know, the thing about starting your own business is something that, as a country, we should take really seriously.
Yeah.
And KCB is way ahead of the curve on this. There are countries like Estonia where their curriculum, you know the one you learn?
Yeah.
Primary, secondary school, up to university. You are required to think about a business. Think. Write a proposal while you're still a student.
Wow.
You must try it out while you're still a student. Part of what determines whether you graduate or not is the workability of this, so that by the time you actually leave college, you actually have a business. Because you started it, you thought about it, you worked through it, and you see in college, you have people who help you make it better. So you leave with a job. You're already doing it even before you left college. So in a country like that, you will find they have more jobs than they have people to do the job.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, a country like ours needs that because we need people to stop thinking about being employed and to think about how they can create employment.
Exactly.
And that is what you're telling us KCB has done. Let me ask you my final question. If you were to advise young people who had never thought of improving their skills or changing careers completely, because with your line of work, people think in terms of working for the bank, working for insurance companies, but you got into filmmaking, completely different. What would be your advice to people who are thinking, what do I do with myself? And maybe they don't know to judiciary program, or maybe they're not taken. What would you advise them?
My advice would be that whenever you sit down and then you meditate on what do you like doing or what opportunities are there around you. Because myself, I started without knowing about Tujajiri or KCB. I just met a friend in campus. He told me, let's go for a shoot. And then I found that, this is a way of getting money and I would survive in campus through this way. So it is all about just figuring out the kind of opportunities that are around you and maybe what you like. I thank God for AI. Nowadays, ChatGPT is helping so many people. So if, for example, you don't have any idea, you could just figure out what you like doing and you could go and chat with the AI and then you ask, I need an opportunity. Even from a blank page, even if you have never had a chat with ChatGPT, you could ask the same, I need an opportunity, or there is actually some point of brainstorming. If you could use technology, you could get some awesome ideas that are really applicable and can work within your means, even without the enough capital that you need to start your business.
And Amos, here's a question. Well, you've talked about your idea, your friend. We have KCB. Now, unemployment in the country is something that is big. Even the government recognizes that. Yeah. What would be your what would you'd want to see the government do or partner with the partners like KCB in making sure that solution is found? What would be your message to the government?
My message to the government would be the government should support such initiative because there are so many people outside there who want to create opportunities, but maybe the regulations from the business, from the government might be kind of challenging. Maybe someone wants to start an NGO or a community where they support people, but when they go to the registrar of societies or so, they find that the regulations might be challenging. So my advice would be the government, if it could provide regulations and initiatives that really support such kinds of institutions, it would be of great help to solving these unemployment issues in the country. Yeah,
City. That is matters to do with the unemployment in the country, something that we talk about in this show on a daily basis. And we look at initiatives being taken there by different individuals. Look at KCB and what they're doing to the young people. And if I could just go through what some of the people listening are actually saying here. They are saying, go Amos, praising you for what you're doing. And Amos appears to have a good work ethic. Amos sounds so focused. I feel seriously challenged. That is according to Angela. And CT, you will always be my mentor. Latif and Indu also encourage me a lot. But CT, I listen you carefully, like what you just said. We don't need sending people out. We can be okay in our country.
Yes. You know, the change doesn't come as an avalanche or as a flood. It's in driblets. It's like just raindrops that keep falling, ever so gently, never so slowly. Opportunities exist. It means somebody at KCB and some people thought and asked, how can we help? They saw a problem. So we're a bank. How can we? Others give money for people to go to school. And many banks do. That's good. But they took this additional step of saying, okay, fine, somebody has finished school. then what? What do we do? How do we help them? You see, because one of the things that happens, I'm going to tell you a story of a time when I was a younger man, and it was told to me by my father that one of the things that made people go to school in those days was when somebody had gone to school, had gotten a job, and then came back to the rural areas. One, people realized that they had now put corrugated iron sheet on their parents' house. So the story was, you need to go to school and get a job so that you can do. When they bought a car, now everybody said, so-and-so son bought a car because they work. But they went to school first.
True.
That was the motivation. But that was then. See, now the motivation is, it is good to get an education and then think and plan of what you can do for yourself as a business and look for the ways and means you can do it. And you're the living example and living testimony that it is possible through the judiciary program by KCB.
Yes. And I'll just also read what Mato Makandet says. This young guy is what this country need. And with that, Amos, all we have to say in this show is the KCB to Judiciary platform has given an opportunity to young people in this country to be able to address, first of all, the unemployment situation that this country continues to grapple with. Every politician, every electioneering year, we will create 1 million jobs and all that. Whether that is true or not, that is subject for another day. But there is a partner, KCB to Judiciary platform, says we have seen the problem. This is our solution. We will partner with TVETs and give these skills. We will equip you to go start your business. CT, they go even further to say, who are you? You are a plumber. Shika idrill and anza nayo kazi. And goes even further to give you the capital. You've talked about capital. They give you capital for you to start the business. CP, it can't get better than that.
No, it can't.
And it is on that note that we say, for those that are doing the good job, keep doing the good job. We celebrate you, Amos Muthama Musyoka, for the good job that you're doing. Please send this message to the fellow young people out there. Tell them to always chase the what?
The bag.
The chicken. My name is Dennis Aseto with CT Muga here. Eric Latif is not in, Ndu Oko as well. It is the festive season, but we are holding fort. Amos, thank you very much for making time, for being here. This conversation definitely must continue. It is 10 a.m., same time, same place again tomorrow from 6 a.m. Good morning.
More of the classics and the hits you love. Spice.
Good morning. This is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira. A family in Nairobi is in distress